1, 2, check, chuffy, 1, 2, check, chuff, 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 chuffy, chuff. Well, crisps. It's an advert for crisps. Why have I done that? I didn't. I just wanted the music. Fuck off, crisps. Can you hear me? Are you all there? Am I broadcasting? Chuffy one check. I mean, I just came over from the other stream, so everything should just be working, shouldn't it? Crisps. Fucking crisps. How did they get on there? 1, 2, check, chuffy, 1, 2, check, chuff, 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 chuff. Crisps again. They keep chasing me around. There's an advert now for pregnancy tests. How did that get... Why are they advertising pregnancy tests to me? What do they think I'm up to? I'm not busy getting myself knocked up. Look, this is the Leeway music. Thanks. We were on Nutter Watch yesterday on Battery Exhausted. That can go. This is my Super Chuffered Ganji Super Tippies. That can come into the chat. Super Tippies if you want to do them. Big ups Fiona, big ups Brumvixen, big ups Jackie Young, big ups Broadmoor Inmate, big ups Silver Moon Warrior, big ups Dover and Dolly's mom, big ups Caroline Burns, big ups Adflux, big ups Lydia of Aragon. That's a new name. Hello Lydia of Aragon. Big ups Fiona, big ups John Devine, big ups Michael, big ups Robert, you spanner. I saw you, right? Oh God. Okay, so today what we're doing is we're doing the police reports. Oh, that's Alan's rubbish. We were doing that on the other channel. That's Alan's rubbish. That can go in the bin. What we're doing is the police report thing. So I'm Battery Exhausted is the other channel. You've just been watching that, some of you. We've come right over from there. We've come right over from there. Wait, I haven't got your chat on the screen. Why has that happened? There you go. You're back. Okay. And if I turn this off, so we've got the nice frame. So many buttons. Battery Exhausted, the B-side channel, the other channel where we do the messing about. We've just done a live over there talking about Angry Alan's setup. Tomorrow, the big video drops. So tomorrow there's going to be a live stream, probably over there, leading up to it. I'll set it as a premiere. We'll all watch it. Then the live stream will take over. At the same time, Alan will be doing his live stream. I assume he'll watch it live on the premiere like everyone else will. During his stream, maybe just before. I don't know how he's going to deal with it. That's coming up. It's the Nicola Bulley inquest on Monday. My perceptions on the Nicola Bulley inquest. Let me just bring up Super Chuffer channel. Because what we're doing today is we're doing the police response like we did yesterday. We're going to be looking at the police and the media, the interactions and the press conferences. My perceptions on the Nicola Bulley thing for tomorrow, for Monday, I'll tell you in advance just quickly, is that I believe the first day is going to be about Nicola's life. I believe it's going to be telling the circumstances of her life, and what the true crime people expect is they're going to come on Monday and be like, oh, we just found out that Nicola was hit on the head with a hammer, and we just found out that Paul Ansell was texting Emma, and like, you know, I think they believe they're going to get some juicy goss. I don't think that's going to happen on day one. I think day one's going to be about reflecting on Nicola's life. So I'm going to be, you know, taking a bit of a, I believe, this is my presumption, I'm going to be taking a bit of a somber tone. You know, we might broadcast in the day as the news evolves over the day and then do a summary show. And I think that both those shows will be a somber tone. Respectful. Don't know about everyone else and what they're preparing, but that's the way I feel about it. Tuesday will be the day with the autopsy results and stuff, so that might get a bit darker. But that's what's coming up. So Sunday is going to not be like that. Sunday's going to be something different, and Monday's going to be something different. Different tones. But yeah, you want to look out for what the Super Chuffer's got going on. Also, I dropped the Philip Schofield body language video. I couldn't hold on to it anymore. I just feel if I drop it next week after the Nicola Bulley inquest, it feels wrong. So that's finally out. YouTube did not approve. They're still reviewing it to see if it's going to be okay suitable for advertising. And what that means is you've got this graph of how your video views go, and usually they go up, 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 not suitable for advertising, and they stop because it stops showing it to people. It's just a fact, right? So I don't expect that video to do as well. My last Philip Schofield video got 10,000 views. This one's better, longer, and more detailed from the BBC interview. It won't do 10,000 views. I lose 50 quid. I don't care about the money. It's not about the money. It's a shame that that video doesn't get shown as much by YouTube, so I'm having to promote my own content. but it's up there now. We've got the Holly Willoughby one to follow as well. That'll probably follow later on tonight after today's show. That one is shorter and it's got Holly Willoughby in it, so I expect that one will do some views. Yeah. So you're all good in chat. Hopefully today as well, because we've come over from the other stream, bang, you've got quite a lot of you in already. So hit the like button. If you're not subscribed already, you probably want to subscribe now so you don't forget. Because I see you out there, I see you. You want to, what's the problem with the subscription button, eh? What's the problem? Does it smell bad? Does my subscription button smell bad? No, it's lovely. You have a little feel of it. Go on, have a little feel of it. Go on, have a little touch of it. See how nice it feels. You'll like it. It doesn't smell bad, it smells nice. Lovely coconut. Yeah, and I need to open up the videos of the police. Which I've got... what am I looking for? Nicola, Jidlulamana, Jukala, Abakada, Efaka, Hutjika, Lamana. Nicola Bullis. And then I want to copy this. Copy. I am actually using this. This is so bad of me. This conspiracy nut blog, right? Sign in. I'm not signing in. The conspiracy nut blog, which I don't agree with the conspiracy psyop stuff, but they collected together these videos, so I'm actually using their thing to find the video.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, Chris. Get your little advert. Let's let that advert play. So yeah, we're going to be doing the police response. I'm going to be picking up where we left off, and where we left off was the... I'll tell you something actually before we get started as well. A lot of people who watched the earlier episode today on Battery Exhausted will think, oh, Scott was quite angry. Scott was quite eggy at Alan. Scott got quite angry. I didn't. I'm all right. I'm all good. I'm chill. What it is sometimes you need to raise your energy to match the situation. That's all. So we're going to have a nice chill one here. I'm able to switch straight over, be chill. One thing I've always believed is you can't discipline someone if you yourself has lost your discipline. And I'm really lucky, and I talk about him a lot on this channel, but sadly he died through the COVID. And, it was one of those tragedies where I didn't get to go to his funeral, I didn't get to say goodbye to him, but my coach, when I was at school, I started going to the fencing club about 11 years old, and I was already in a bit of a... now, my parents had already gone through a divorce, and I was already in a bit of a, troubled state of mind maybe, but it didn't really play out for the first couple of years. I was kind of a good boy at school. I got good grades in the first year. I was part of the fencing club, but so were lots of other young kids at that time, so I probably didn't stand out necessarily. But as things developed, I stayed in that fencing club year 2, year 3. In the third year I started to go off the rails in my life. I started smoking and being naughty. He caught me smoking. He caught me with a gun once. That sounds awful, but I'd got an air pistol, not a real, although, people in the UK can actually get shotguns and stuff. It's not like America, but we can get shotguns. But I had an air pistol. I took it to fencing club. Me and my mate were out the back shooting it. He went on to become a captain in the army, my mate. But we're out the back fencing, sword fighting. I became, through his coaching and discipline and, through routine and practice and application, I went to the World Championships and I represented Great Britain at a schoolboy level. I was captain of the England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales quad team that we went to. I did quite well in it and got to go around Europe and compete and be part of a team and a squad. And I learned, because my coach was a major in the army himself who got shot, and so had to stop being in the army because he was shot. So he had a lot of he had a lot to teach me. Let's just say that. He had a lot to teach me. And at the same time, I was going off the rails, I was fucking up. I'll never forget, I went into fencing club once. I can't remember the conversation, but a boy called Tom, who I still love I don't see these people all the time, but I love them, he turned to me and he just said, Scott, you're a fuck up. And I know what he meant, and I know how I feel. It's been an interesting journey in my life, and throughout it, my coach was there. David, his name was, David, was there for me, just throughout it. Now he's not, and I really feel it, in fact, it's making me emotional now, so I shouldn't. But what I wanted to iterate, what I wanted to point out, and it's a good example of it, is able to control myself, because I got taught it. I got taught it. Like, if you like fencing is a fight. It's a one-on-one fight. You're in a direct competition, a sporting competition. You got a mask on, and we were hitting each other with sabers. Like we weren't trying to kill each other, but it's a fight, yeah. And if you lose control in that situation, if you get angry and eggy, if you can keep your head while all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, you know, that's where I learned that. That's who taught me that. So I've got that in my locker, you know. I've got that. So I just wanted to point out at the start of today's episode, for anyone who watched the previous one, yeah, I got animated and excited and a little bit, I let some egg out, but I'm not eggy. And you can't deal with people if you've lost your temper, because you yourself have lost your temper. You need to be able to control that first, and then you can deal with people. Like, that's part of self-discipline, and like hopefully one day I get to be a parent. God help me if I lose my shit with my kids. Like, I'm not going to do that. I don't believe I can discipline someone if I've lost my discipline. So that's why I'm able to chill here now. You fucking Scotty in chat, thank you very much for my favourite comment. I'm not going to read it out because I believe that's now bait, but just like DSB, I've called out the bait, but I'm not going to rise to it. Although I mentioned it. It's a funny one though, I like that. It's a funny one. That made me laugh. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that I've said that and made it clear before we start, for anyone who feels like, oh, he was just in a bad mood and now he's here and now it's okay. Yeah, it is okay. It's all okay. Where were we yesterday then? We were at the timeline, weren't we?
Not in its harness and nothing different or unusual. 3, she sent an email on the river path, walk you through some of those.
Okay, we're at this timeline. Are you all good in chat? How are you in chat? You want your egg now, Claire? There's no egg going around. There's no egg. I'm not doing it. I lose my egg, and then I control myself, and then I behave in whatever way I choose I want to behave. Like when I'm on stream sometimes and I'm watching things on the internet, I'll get eggy, you know, I'll get excited, even animated, you know. Yeah, okay, like, but I'm not going to, like, if let's say we're having an argument and you say something and it, like, you know, stings and I'm, like, angry, I'm not going to then throw that back at you immediately, like, wah, like that, wah. Like, I've learned. Like, I used to let it out. So when I used to let it out was when I'd won the hit. Sounds weird. Like you fight a lot of points in fencing. One of my best ever, bigging myself up now. We went to Germany. It was a under 18s. No, it was a under 18s the first day, and then the next day it was open. So I was in an open competition against adults, and I was about 15. And there was this German guy, you know, a grown up, and he was winning the other. Like, we're in this little pool. We have to, like, 5 people all fight each other to 5 points. You get a little ranking, and then you go and fight your next round. And I'm watching this guy fight these other people, and he's beating them. Right, and I'm fighting my other people and I'm beating them and I'm doing quite well and I'm getting like into it. Like I'm getting I used to listen to Rage Against the Machine before I fought, and when I win a hit I'm like, rah! Like I can't do it now because it would be too loud, but I don't mind. Like, you know how boxers go ha 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 ha, like, you know, I'm making sound to express myself when I'm winning, but not while I'm battling it out, but when I win and you've been hit, then I, you know, let it out, right? And these kids were laughing. They were the fans of, they're like supporting this German guy, and these younger people were laughing at me every time. They were replicating the noise I made, going ha ha, like, and they were having the piss. And then I had to fight him. So he's got his supporters. They've been taking the piss out of me. I've been making my noise, and I fucking beat him 5-4. Last point, 4-all. Took a parry riposte, bang bang, fuck, and I took my mask off and I fucking screamed at all of them. Ah! I had a Mohican and stuff as well, so I was a bit more like that. But like, you can't do that if you've lost control. If I let them get to me and I was like wound up, I'd have lost 5-4. But when I won, when the hit was made, then I could release that. So yeah, I would never be in an argument and start shouting, and I'm the person that goes quiet.
So
I say that, all my mates know that I'm not. I'm in the pub saying this to that and this to that person, but when it steps up a level.
53 last
Okay,
Friday.
right. Oh, sorry, I'm getting my excitement out about fencing now. It was reminding me of the combative nature of international combat sports. En garde, yes. Some people said it in chat. En garde, yeah. En garde, prêt, allez. That's French. En garde, prêt, allez. At the moment, we're on prêt. We've done en garde, me and Alan. We're on prêt, Ali. Tomorrow, Ali. Today, let's chill and watch this. That'll last well, won't it? When people watch this episode later on, when they watch this back, later on, they'll be like, well, I wonder what was going on that Sunday. And then maybe they'll go over and check out what happened. I don't know how it'll all end up, but I don't know how this will last. My excitement, my joy. But yeah, let's go.
So
I need to focus in, actually, a good point, because we're talking about Nicola Bulley and we're talking about the police response. So I need to take that down a step because, my energy should match the content here.
at 8:43 last Friday, Nicola was seen on the river path walking towards the Iron Bridge. A few minutes later at 8:47, she was seen in the lower field with her dog Willow and her mobile phone, which was on.
Are we picking apart the timeline here? Because it changed, didn't it? So I don't know if we need to pick apart this timeline, but I just will reiterate what I said yesterday, is I've got no problem with the police themselves having a timeline at this stage and it being slightly wrong. Because what she's done is gathered information from a variety of sources, and now this is what she believes, to the best of her knowledge, is the timeline. She's presenting it. Of course, I would contradict this myself. I'd ask questions, so I suppose I might as well.
Walking toward 43 last. So at 8:43 last Friday, Nicola was seen on the river path walking towards the Iron Bridge.
At 8:43, she was seen on the path walking towards the bridge. Who by? Doesn't tell us. Maybe it's cameras. 8:43, and that's a little early for dropping kids off at school for my lifestyle, but I said lifestyle then because it came up yesterday. Because my mum would always drop us off at like 9:01. But yeah, 8:43. Did I meet Bruce Dickinson? No, he is a fencer. I never got to go to America in my travels, and also he fought in a different discipline. I fought sabre and he fought in épée. So, but yeah, I know he fenced. No, I met loads of interesting people all over the world. I didn't go to America though during that time.
A few minutes later at 8:47, she was seen in the lower field with her dog Willow.
8:47, did she say?
A few minutes later at 8:47.
So 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. You've got 4 minutes to get down that path. It's too long. The times don't match up. I haven't watched this before, and I didn't, like I said, I don't want to critique it on this level because I think it could change and people are inconsistent. When did you see it? Oh, I think it was 8:43. Was it 8:47 or 46? I don't know. I wasn't looking at my watch. I think it could be inconsistent. So, but the time doesn't seem to make any sense.
She was seen in the lower field with her dog Willow and her mobile phone, which was on view. At 8:53, she sent an email to her boss on her.
8:53 will be correct, my guess, because they will have that as digital. That will say sent 8:53.
Phone. And at 9:01, she joined a Teams work call.
It's interesting that. Here's something that hasn't come up. I will say as well, I see what you're saying in chat there. Some people are saying it's rubbish. Some people are, doing this sort of stuff. Is this to be... No, this is nothing to do with Alan now. This is my own... And what I've done is I've not analysed this before. I know they did a press conference. I wasn't really that interested at the time in hearing what the police said in their press conference. So now what I'm doing is giving you my honest appraisal of how they're handling their response to the media, to the public. And I'm not really critiquing necessarily the ins and outs and details, but I will pick some of them. But really it's supposed to be an episode about how the police have, what they've said to the public and what I can infer from it, from my textual and body language analysis. That's the point of today. And like I said, I've not, this is coming fresh to me. I wanted it to feel fresh. So I left it a long time since the original one, because I probably watched the original thing a bit and was like, oh, right, interesting. But I didn't do much about it. So I want this to feel fresh to me. And this has occurred to me and it stands out.
And at 9:01, she joined a Teams work call.
I don't think anyone said this before, is she sent a text message, she sent an email to the boss, and then at 9:01 she joined the call. A lot of people have said, well, it's normal to join the call, it's a regular thing, this and that. If she sent an email to her boss, and then minutes later joined a call, is it possible that the boss replied? Thanks for your email, Nikki. We're about to have a works call about this. Why don't you jump on? I mean, it could be that she's always jumping on as a matter of course. That's been said. But no one suggested that there could have been a dialogue here. The police haven't suggested it. But usually, if you're working with people, and if I was on the computer and someone sent me an email that I was working with and I expected to see them on a Teams call in 3 minutes, I'd say, thanks, see you on the call in 3 minutes. And just send that back, wouldn't I? Like, it just feels like a normal thing to do. So maybe that's something that has not been raised before. Did the boss reply? Because it might have been that whoever was holding this phone didn't expect to be on that works call. And all of a sudden they're having to rise to that challenge.
At 9:01, she joined a Teams work call. All of this was normal behaviour for Nicola. This was not out of the ordinary, and nothing different or unusual happened during those calls and emails.
See that? Nothing different or unusual happened during those calls or emails. So now there's more than one email, but we just said she received she sent an email to her boss, singular. Nothing unusual happened during those emails. So I'm now to assume there's a dialogue between the emails. No? Because she just said it. Emails. And the emails would have gone back, forward, maybe back again. Okay, I'll be there. See you at 9. Whatever. Maybe that was a two-way thing. But it's totally normal, she's saying. The reason she's saying it's normal is because, who's got intimate knowledge of Nicola's life? Somebody close by has told her that is normal. It might be the boss. Yeah, it's normal for Nicola to be on these work calls. It might be the husband. Partner, Paul Ansell. Or it might be her parents, We're to assume that the reason she says it's normal is because other people have told her it's normal, not because she has intimate knowledge of Nicola's life.
Different or unusual happened during those calls and emails.
But it's important she stresses that. So why is she stressing it? Nothing different. So the reason she's stressing it is to say this is not a catalyst for her to commit suicide. I like this lady. I believe she's called Sally. In the last episode, I told you why I liked what she was saying. She sounded like she was coming from a more old school perspective of wanting to know the truth from boots on the ground and people saying it to me. The dash cam came up, but she was also looking for real people. And I think that she got initially along the track of the river. I think initially she was thrown on the river thing, and then she felt like people were making a mug out of her. And she felt like the river was not the place that Nicola was. And she wanted to start looking elsewhere. And I think that she's trying to give us, the media themselves, I think this is an important dance between the two. If she comes out and says, well, we're looking for a murder, we've got a murder on our hands, then the media that she's speaking to start creating all these stories and suspects and things. She doesn't want that. So she's being careful about saying things out loud and shutting things down. And this is a shut things down. This is there was nothing normal. So we are now to assume that call did not set her off. Do you understand what I mean? It's like a step, like she's giving you piece A, piece B, and piece C. If you've got the logical mind and can see what she's saying, it seems quite clear to me. It might not be. That's why she's saying it this way, because she can't pin her flag to the mast here and say this was this and this was that. But she wants the media to take very clearly this message, so they don't then go and print a story about, was Nicola scared on her phone, or did the boss sack her on the phone and then she got upset? Did they have a row? No. The emails were normal. The work call was normal. This did not set her off. No one said anything bad to her. That's what the point is being made here.
Nothing different or unusual happened.
Dylan Fowler, did Nicola Bulley fall in, hit her head and sink to the bottom? I think I might as well just address it, since you seem to be new in chat and asking a quite old question. But no, you can drown in 2 foot of water, absolutely. But if you did, you would be there and they'd see you in the fucking water. So no. I'm going to say no. The bottom was not far enough down for you to sink. If you hit your head, you have to hit it on the rocks. The rocky part is not where the bottom is for you to sink. You understand? You'd have to hit your head on the rocks and then move out to a part of the river that's deeper and sink. But you're not going to float because you're on those rocks. So it's a no. Not in that position, not from that bench, no. And if she did, she'd be there, you'd find her. They'd been up and down that river. Within the 24, 48 hours, you'd find her. So no, it just seems incredulous to think that.
During those calls and emails. At 9:10, she was seen in the upper field. The dog was off the lead. Again, this was normal. The dog was not in its harness and the lead wasn't on the dog.
So She's saying, stating clearly, she was seen, the harness was off. Again, this is now third-hand information from a witness that can or cannot be corroborated later. They're saying the dog was off the harness. I mean, what people might want to do is, she said it was on the harness. She said it wasn't on the... Irrelevant. We did it in the episode. We took a... If you're watching this Super Chuffer channel for the new... If you're watching Super Chuffer channel for the first time, check out Super Chuffer channel. We do these live streams, and conveniently I put them into playlists for you. Subscribe. The full Nicola Bulley playlist includes an episode called What is Evidence? And we looked into that very carefully, about testimony, about witness testimony, and about the validity of it. So to say that this policewoman is giving us this as a fact is to assume that she's receiving it as a description from a witness, and that is not that certain. You can't put that in the box of 100%. That could be wrong.
Which was all part of Nicola's daily routine.
So it could be wrong, it could be right.
At 9:20, through inquiries we've made, we believe that her phone was on the bench. At 9:30, the Teams meeting ended, but Nicola's phone remained dialed in.
Now this is interesting. Through inquiries we've made,
we believe that her phone was on the bench.
We believe her phone was on the bench. Yeah, you've been good. You can have that. Yeah, you have that. You've been good. Do you want one? You're a good boy. Have that. You have that. Good Chewis. Go on. You be good. It's interesting here that she didn't say that about these other facts, did she? Through inquiries we've made, we understand that she was seen in the field. So you didn't have to make inquiries to get that information. That information was brought to you by the witness. Yeah. This other information, the phone was on the bench the whole time. That didn't get brought to you by a witness. That's you asking questions, checking your notes, going back and asking other questions. Say, hang on, wait, where is this phone? Have we got that? And like, did he say that? Did she say that? And through inquiries we've made, we've decided that it's been on the bench the whole time. It's interesting. It's a different statement.
Through inquiries we've made, we believe that her phone was on the bench. At 9:30, the Teams meeting ended, but Nicola's phone remained dialed in.
So Nicola's phone remained dialed in. I don't know how these team meetings work, but we're to assume it's like being on a Discord call where the other person hangs up but you stay on the line. Her phone is still dialed in. Dialed in is a funny word as well because it's not the proper language. You know, it's not a phone is still connected to the call. It's dialed in, which is... I know it's different language and you know what she means, but it's just not the right language, is it?
At 9:33, a witness found Nicola's dog Willow running between the gate to the field and the bench.
So now someone's found the dog, so we're to assume that this corroboration the phone was on the bench at this particular time can either be made through our inquiries, the phone mast and stuff like that, it wasn't moving, it was there, or other inquiries could have been a different witness, like maybe someone saw the phone but not the dog. Yeah. £20 super chat. Thank you, Andrew Fletcher. I will quickly put my coffee link in as well. If you want it to be read out on the screen, then do it through the coffee, but I'll read it out for you if it's in the super chats. Don't worry. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Do you believe they've seized the opportunity to push the online safety bill? No. No, I think when you think about things like that, if you're worried about things like that, that was Brexit. That's gone a long time ago. The minute we removed ourselves from the European Union, our government had the opportunity to start fucking us over on our human rights. So I think that was a long time ago. That was the opportunity. They can push that through regardless of this bollocks. Honestly, regardless of this bollocks. Like, if you look at what's... I don't want to get too political now because some people don't like it, but if you look at what's going on, you know, the protests, look at what they did with the protests. Have a look into that. Like, they didn't set up the protests in order to shut them down. They just want to shut them down, so they just fucking will. Yeah. Your rights, your human rights, you know, your protections. Got control over them now, haven't we? Can take back control over that. Interesting stuff, but yeah. I think it would be completely contrived to think that the government, like, bear in mind, okay, collateral damage, you know, let people die of COVID, they don't care, but like, to think that they would organise and create a murder would be like way off the psyops business, I think way off. Hijacking it, promoting it in the media, so that, no, I don't think it kind of works like that, no. And we talked about the Newsgate yesterday, actually, and the reasons people put things in the news. So, I think it's a bit contrived to think this is about the online safety bill. It might play into the conversation a little bit, but that conversation was being had way before this, and the average person on the street, if you go and ask the average person on the street about the online safety bill and Nicola Bulley, they don't care too much about either, really. It's not actually informed anyone's opinions. It's not really changed like a public narrative. It's just, you know, there's a lot of bollocks going on all at the same time, I think. But yeah, you should, no, that sort of stuff I'm not happy with, though. I agree, you know what I mean? Like, I think we should be allowed to protest. I don't think they should be removing our rights and impinging on our freedoms and freedoms of speech and stuff in these ways. But, like, you know, vote Conservative, get trampled. A lot of people didn't want to vote Conservative, but through Brexit they ended up doing so anyway. So, talking about con jobs earlier, you know.
Where the phone was located. Also found by that witness was the dog harness, which was on the grass between the bench and the river's edge.
This is something I've always asserted, is the dog harness is on the bench between the thing, right? She's saying that I'm going to deal with it. I haven't dealt with these things a lot in the past, but I think it's there laid as a trail. I think that you've got phone, harness, and then river. It's like an arrow pointing, and I think there's one more piece of evidence that was in the river, and I think that because Emma did an interview where she said they brought in Peter Folding to look for, he could find something as small as a stone, and it made me think, what is this thing as small as a stone, which she described as a jigsaw piece puzzle, a piece of a puzzle? What is this one small thing that they want Peter Folding to find? You know, I think you've got phone, harness, and I think they threw something in as well to create this narrative through the items, and I don't think that thing was found, whatever it was. It seems Michael Fish says it decoy. Paul mentioned the word decoy, didn't he? That's where that word first surfaced in Paul's testimony. So yeah, I totally believe that aspect of it. And then because Paul said it, and then the other thing that I really don't like is it's possible that you could tie a dog to a bench in its harness and the dog would get free, either by freeing the tie that you've tied or by pulling itself out of the harness. We had a dog that could free itself from its harness. It got its leg through, and like we'd have it in the back of the car, like harnessed in, and you look round and it'd be up like and I'd be like, how'd you get out of that fucking harness, Houdini? So it's possible if you tied the dog up and it was in distress and it wanted to run up, you know, to get away from that, it would try and get loose. But what wouldn't happen is it wouldn't get loose at both ends. It wouldn't come out of the harness and then go and free the lead. It wouldn't get out of the harness, you know, it wouldn't free the lead and then still have the pressure on it to get out of the harness. So it had to have been removed by a human, the harness. You know, the dog didn't get out of that itself. So we know that a human being took the harness off the dog or didn't put it on the dog in the first place. But, you know, that's okay. You know, that's okay. Like Nicola could have done that. Emma could have done that. Anyone could have done that. But the way it's trailing off towards the it doesn't make any sense, right? If you were going to hold it in your hands and fall in the river, you wouldn't drop it as like a pointer mark to where you've fallen in. You wouldn't walk off and then lay it out in a trail. Like it would be in one spot, like dropped, and it'd be quite close to where you fell in probably. But like the way it's laid out as a trail, you know, it made me think of my dog pulling on the lead to its greatest extent and then getting out of it, but it wouldn't be dislodged at both ends. So it sounds like a human put that there, just by the nature of how they found it.
The time that we are particularly interested in is between 9:10, the last confirmed sighting.
The way she says that as well, the last confirmed sighting. There's almost a raise of the eyebrow.
Between 9:10.
Well, she's got her eyebrow up the whole time, but she hasn't got any eyebrows, but she's got it up the whole time.
Last confirmed sighting.
And she looks down.
And at 9:20.
There's the sun has got the little jerky in it. My stream doesn't. But the fact that she says the last confirmed sighting and looks down, it makes me feel that she doesn't have the confidence in these witnesses, because nor should she, you know.
The last confirmed sighting, and at 9:20, when Nicola's phone was found on the bench. Sorry, not found on the bench, when Nicola's phone was on the bench, believed to be on the bench, found at around 9:33.
So Nicola's phone was believed to be on the bench, not found on the bench. Again, so this is this language change. So it's not that we're talking about witnesses the phone is on the bench because we've got some other form of evidence that says the phone is on the bench. And my best guess is, phone tracking, tracer, mast tower. You know what I'm saying? The phone company will tell you that phone didn't move from this point. The phone probably has its own internal GPS or something. It's that sort of business, yeah? So they're pretty sure that phone was on that bench.
The witness made numerous inquiries to try and find the owner of the phone, not knowing whose phone it was, and indeed whose dog it was. That led the witness to meet up with other people who did recognise the dog as Nicola's.
So, because we're in the benefit of hindsight, we're saying that was Ron made the inquiries, led them to meet up with the other people, Penny, maybe. I kind of feel like I should go through this. We've got time in the future. We will have time in the future to go through this and pour through it in that aspect. But it's funny here because there's lots of different angles and levels we could talk about this. I don't really feel comfortable doing the episode of does what the policewoman say line up with what Penny said right now, because I want them side by side, and I'm supposed to be doing police response rather than the police media response rather than the tying up of the two accounts. But contradictions, Sasha, yeah, like the problem with the contradictions thing, right? I'll talk about it briefly. The Ron interview, people think, there's problems. What I think comes on rewatching my own footage of the Ron interview, I feel like he's worried because he's given a statement to the police. I think I said it at the time in the episode, and that he doesn't really, that's for the police statement. So, like, that can stay in the police statement, and you don't have to get the truth out of me here on Sky TV News. I'd rather it stayed in the police statement. I think there's things he said in that police statement he doesn't want to say publicly, but not for a bad thing, just because he doesn't want to get it wrong on the telly, and he, is flustered a bit. But we're saying that, because she's describing this process, and now we don't have any testimony from Penny. Penny didn't say on camera she did X, Y, Z.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier. Swish,
Emma White sent tippies.
From the
Hi,
work
it's only
meeting.
me. Lots of love, Emma. PS, you are doing a fab job. Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thanks very much, Emma White. Going to come to your farm one of these days.
And the school to which Nicola's children go was alerted at 10:50, as was her family.
So she said the school that Nicola's children go was alerted at 10:50, as was her family. And this is really interesting because Paul tells us that the school were the people that called him, if I remember rightly. Do I remember that rightly? Tell me in chat. Did Paul say this? How did Paul get alerted to the... tell me in chat just to, how did Paul get alerted to Nicola's situation? Who told Paul? Maybe I need to get it up. You're going to want to go to Send Trees. You're going to want to go to Send Trees tomorrow as well. I'll tell you, you're going to want to go to Send Trees tomorrow. Was it the school called him?
There's a pillar of strength. Be as strong as I can so that they...
You walk the dog and take the kids to school, and on that morning it was Nicky's job?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my job. Usually the roles was like 6 hours behind. And I think, right, I've got an hour.
Bit of peace.
At a push. So I'd gone up into the office at 10, thinking it should be back in a minute. So I logged on. I was just going through some emails and stuff, setting my day up, and it got to say 10:15.
I'm doing a bit of detective work here instead of the police thing, but I'm just doing it, so I just need to know. And
that's when I thought, she's later than usual, but I still wasn't like particularly worried because she has come back at 10:20 sometimes. Like she might just get talking to Emma or another
friend
mom.
on a dog walk. Yeah,
yeah, or anybody. So it's not often, but she has got back at about 10:20. So again, I wasn't like massively concerned or anything. Then it got to 10:30, and that's when I thought, she's quite late now, more late than usual. So I tried ringing her phone, and there was no answer. I tried ringing her on WhatsApp and anything. Then it got to 10:30, and that's when I thought, she's, quite late now, more late than usual. So I tried ringing her phone.
Nicola's children go. That led the witness to 9:33 when Nicola's phone was found on the bench. Sorry, not found on the bench, when Nicola's phone was on the bench, believed to be on the bench, found at around 9:33.
Found at around 9:33.
Quite late now, and that's when I thought, concerned or anything. Then it got to 10:30, and that's when I thought, she's, quite late now, more late than usual. So I tried ringing her phone, and there was no answer.
So at 10:30 he rang the phone, so this is an hour later. So there's been an hour while they've had a hold of the phone.
The witness made numerous inquiries to try and find the owner of the phone, not knowing
The witness tried to find the owner of the phone during that hour.
whose phone it was, and indeed whose dog it was.
And it's interesting she brings the dog up as well, and indeed whose dog it was. Because this goes to this dog tag gate, doesn't it? Wouldn't you know whose dog it was because of the dog tag? She was trying to find out whose phone it was and whose dog it was. It's interesting she brings the dog into that.
That led the witness to meet up with other people According to Ron's account, he saw the stuff, he walked off, he thought it was weird, he made a call, and then Penny and other people were there dealing with it when he got back to the situation. did recognise the dog as Nicola's, and the school to which Nicola's children go was alerted at 10:50, as was her family.
And the school were alerted at 10:50, as was her family. So at 10:30, Paulie's ringing the phone. And the school were alerted at 10:50, as was the family. I hate when they say the family, because Paulie's not, he's the father of the children, but he's not her husband. So we keep getting caught up in that. We say he's a husband. No, sorry, I mean partner. Does the family mean her mum and dad? Or does it mean Paul? Or does it mean them all? And would you call everyone, next of kin, someone's missing? I'll call Paul. Do I call her mum as well? I'll call her dad as well. I'll call her uncle, and I'm going to phone her auntie Tilly as well. What's going on here? Who's being alerted?
More late than usual. So I tried ringing her phone, and there was no answer.
There was no answer at 10:30 while you're ringing, and these people are holding the phone and trying to ascertain whose phone it is.
I tried ringing her on WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. I don't know if you get an alert message on WhatsApp when the phone rings. Maybe you can turn that off or on. But that's another choice Paul has made. I remember picking this up at the time to say this is strange, because why are you calling her on the phone and WhatsApp? The WhatsApp is connected to the phone. So why is she not answering one and would answer the other? To me, it feels like it's laying a paper trail to say for sure that you actually made these calls. Check the WhatsApp. Check the phone. Or maybe he was using WhatsApp to talk to other people, and he's, more used to using WhatsApp, and so he tried her on that as well. The other thing that came into my mind that I don't really want to throw around too much at the moment, but could Nicola have been sat on that bench with someone else? Could he have considered her WhatsApp used to be, maybe she's on WhatsApp, and she, I can see she's on WhatsApp because she's got some sort of, is there an active, tell me in chat if you know this, is there an I'm active on WhatsApp? Am I live on WhatsApp when I'm on WhatsApp? Can people see that I'm live on WhatsApp? Do you know what I mean? Maybe he decided to, intervene because he thought she was talking to someone else on WhatsApp. So I'm going to, if she sent you a message on WhatsApp, I'm going to send her a WhatsApp. Why aren't you answering your phone? I know you're answering your WhatsApps because someone else has just said they've WhatsApped you. Is it part of that? These are all things that go around in my head. But what's really striking me at the moment is that Paul phoned during the time they're holding the phone. The police officer has told us that both the family and the school were notified at the same time. Notified by whom and why? And how did they decide between 9:30 when Paul is calling and no one answers between 10:30 when Paul was calling and no one answers? It says you're online. Okay, right. In my opinion, right, what's happened is Paul has got onto WhatsApp, seen that Nikki is on WhatsApp, and decided to get her there. This is the behaviour of, again, we're going into Alan territory, but it's the behaviour of a controlling, narcissistic, if your partner is checking where you are on which app you are live, and when he can see that you're live, he's sending you a message, I can see that you're live. Don't pretend to me you're not answering your phone. I can see you're live. That's a fucking weird creeper there. We again saying something new that other people aren't saying today, aren't we? right before the inquest, throwing things up in the air right before the inquest. I'm glad I'm doing it. It's a new concept that's come up in this whole thing. This is why you should, and I'm not, you know, Alan is useless. I bring things out that haven't been said before. Not blowing my own trumpet. I'm not the only one. You know, there are lots of other good people on the internet as well doing good work. But I'm pleased with my own ability to intuitively and through body language and analysis draw out some interesting conclusions that can or can't be tested by, you know, by you and your mind. You have to decide if what you think I'm saying makes any sense. But I've learned today through what you've said in chat, and I will trust you, that you can see online when you're on WhatsApp. So he's called her up, she's not answered the phone. He's checked WhatsApp and it says she's online, and that's why he's called her. Because if it didn't say she was online, you wouldn't call her. But because it said he's online, she's called her. That's what I think has happened there. He hasn't said it's happened, I'm inferring it. Okay, this is conjecture, yeah, but it's not conjecture based off a random Facebook post from some randomer. It's conjecture based off what he said and the way he behaves. You understand? He's told me A plus B and I've added C. It follows a pattern, so it's not just conjecture. It's informed. It's inferred. I haven't made it up out of thin air. He's told me this stuff and it's made me feel and think this. Okay. And it doesn't play into... The problem you have is that why would you even call someone on their WhatsApp? Like, it's the same as the gym kit. Why would you even call someone on WhatsApp? I'm thinking, you know, I've always said that Paul's having an affair with Emma, right? And that they've been caught out in some way. And that this is why, you know, maybe she was down there with Emma talking to Emma about the affair. Or maybe she was messaging Emma about it. And there's this other side of the coin, which Nicola could have been trying to escape. And she could have been setting up a meeting with somebody who could help her escape. And maybe that was who she was talking on WhatsApp with. I'm not saying affair. I'm saying someone who could help her escape. So he's worried about who she's talking to privately. So much so that he then rushes down to the scene in his gym kit. It reminds me, I said it before, Eddie will know what I'm talking about maybe. Because he talked about family issues when he was younger on one of his videos, which I felt really strongly for him. Because, like, I remember once, Mum jumped us in the car and we had to go real fast because she thought Dad was cheating on her. And, like, you know, he was. Like, shit like that when you're a kid. Like, the panic, the racing down there. Like, he's saying he's panicking and racing down there because he's worried about her welfare. But honestly, you know, if my sister went out for a dog walk and someone, like, one of her friends said, look, she's been on the dog walk, but she hasn't come back yet, I wouldn't race down there because, oh my God. I'd be like, okay, you know, let's chill. Let's not go to jump to weird conclusions. I'm sure she'll turn up. Let's go and I'll pop down there. You know, but there's a difference in the level of emotional response that Paul has told us he delivered. Paul's emotional response was set up to 11. I raced down there. He'll tell us now. You know.
And again, there was no answer. I tried the mobile again, and no answer. So I couldn't get it. I started to get a bit panicky, I think.
I started to get a bit, going to say panicky, not angry, not aggressive. Right, you fucker, if you're not answering to me. Keep ringing until you answer. Why aren't you answering to me? Didn't get angry. Got panicky. Weird.
So that's when I thought, well, I'm going to have to go down there and see if she's all right. You know, see if...
So I have to go down there and see if she's all right. Not threaten her or have a fight with whoever she's talking to, or, you know, punch this guy on the nose who's with my wife, or, you know, see if Emma's all right because she's caught me out, or any of this stuff. Check on her. Checking on people. And, you know, when your aggressive narcissistic partner turns up at your work just to check on you, or, you know, when you're like, you know, narcissistic emotional abusive partner turns up on the dog walk to check on you, they always say they're just doing it for you, don't they? And they're, you know, making sure you're all right, and they're checking on you. But like, it could all, I don't, you know, I'm just throwing ideas out here. Just, this is the way I'm feeling tonight, I guess. I don't like it, you know, running down to check on you.
If I can see the car or you know, see what's going on, but I still expected that I'd just get there and just, oh, there she is, you know. So I go to the gym on a Friday lunchtime.
And this is this weirdness. We've already called it out when the very first time we watched it. You know, the day after this, we put it on the internet and we did the whole review. Like, why are you doing your gym kit? What is going on with your gym kit?
So I quickly got my gym stuff on because I just thought, basically, I'm going to go out, find her, come home, do a bit of work.
Carry on, yeah.
Yeah, lunchtime, go to the gym. Look.
So none of that made sense. I don't need to go over that again. I will quickly, you know, You thought you were so panicked you needed to go and check on your wife, so you decided to get changed first. The idea that once you found her, you were going to go on to the gym, but you weren't going to go to the gym. You were going to come home in between that trip to the gym. So there was no need to get changed before you go down to find her, because you were about to... I believe this is him getting caught out in this problematic aspect of his own personal life, that for some reason he was wearing his gym kit, or for some reason he felt he had to change his clothes. And we all know that when murderers change their clothes, it's to hide evidence. So that's a worry, isn't it? Because nobody knows where Nicola is. Paul rushes down there. I've always said, is it possible she never went on that walk? Has he left her in the house? Has he had to change out of the clothes that is freshly covered in spattered blood or whatever, and changed into the gym kit? Because that's on hand, it's easy. He's got a reason for wearing it. Is that it? I don't know. You know, I've always critiqued and questioned that. I thought it was fucking weird, especially when you're dealing with a missing person / could be a murder, people changing their clothes. So anyway, we're going back to the police and their timeline. What doesn't make any sense here...
The dog as Nicola's, and the school to which Nicola's children go was alerted at 10:50, as was her family.
So the family and the school were alerted at 10:50. Paul said he ran down at 10:30. He said he'd made the call 10:30, and then the school called him. So why would the school call him? Who's alerting the school? When you say alerted the school, I believe that's the police doing that. And she's coming out and saying this the week after he did his interview, didn't it? Is it the week? I think, didn't he do the by the river interview, like, you know, the day or two, and then a day later he was on the like, I think this is after Paul's interview. Someone's going to have to correct me, you know, in chat if I'm wrong. I think this is after Paul's interview, so it's almost like she's correcting Paul's account here. And who is going to alert the school and her family? Alert the next of kin. And of course, the reason Eddie said this, Eddie's vinyl break, 10 out of 10. You alert the school because you're worried about the children. Who's going to pick up the children? So this, for me, is her correcting Paul Ansell's account and making it more clear. She didn't say the police contacted the school. She didn't, but who is obligated to do that? Not the people who are trying to find whose phone it is, because they're not alerting anyone. They're trying to just get the phone back to somebody. So if they find, if the people who got the phone find out, oh, we've got a mum on here, all right, call a mum. Once the mum's alerted, she can alert the school. She can alert, you're not going to be, okay, I'll just use her minutes up on her phone to call everyone I think of and alert them to this situation. All right, bye. Like, you're going to hand over to somebody else that's in control of this situation. And my guess would be the police alert the school. Like, it's another step, isn't it? Either the family do it, but the family are alerted at the same time as the school. So I'm saying it's not the family who are doing this alerting, and it's not the school who are doing it, it's somebody else. And it's not Paul, because he's getting called up by them. And it's not the people at the bench, because I would see it as a step over. We're trying to find whose phone this is. All right, it belongs to this woman called Nicola. Right, I'll alert the school. Like, what? Don't alert anyone. Hand them over the phone to the people who are closest to her and let them deal with it. Like, that would be weird. So I'm saying it's the police. Once the police are in contact, and maybe after an hour of trying to find this, but maybe like, I agree with Ron, you would find a dog and a phone, you'd think somebody's around here. Where are they? They've left their dog and their phone here. Where are they? And if they don't turn up in for a bit, you'd be like, maybe they're just messing about. Maybe they've gone for a shit in the woods or something. But after a bit, you'd start to feel like this isn't right. And then you might say, look, it's been an hour. Maybe we should call the police, because I'm not going to stay here all day. We need to hand over to somebody else. So I think it's the police.
This means that we've only a 10-minute window in which we cannot account for Nicola's movements.
And that's incorrect, because you can't account for the fact that you don't even know if she's been in that field, because all of that was non-corroborated eyewitness, might change later. So they're a bit stuck on this 10-minute window, and I'm saying it from the start, from Paul's account and all that. Your window starts at, in the morning, did anyone see Nicola? Did her children definitely have, did she get up? Paul said she was up and everything was ready already. So did she get the kids up? Did she drive them to school? Can you use their testimony as accurate? Can they ever be accurately telling you that from, we looked at children? I said we looked at children. Don't want to sound like some dodgy nonce. I didn't look at children. What I did was I did an episode called Nicola, Bulley, Police and Children, thus podcast featuring Archangel Steve. We got a forensic psychologist on and I asked them all the different questions about how the police would interview children and what the process, and we basically decided that they wouldn't be able to give us accurate testimony in this case. In this particular case, they wouldn't be able to do that. So my question about, you know, the 10-minute window, the window becomes a wide open barn door if you allow it to extend that far. What's the connection with the school? Our dogs get lost, they don't call a school. Yeah, I agree, Kurt and Lisa. I think it's a very strange move. And the reason Eddie explained it that made so much sense to me is if you didn't think if you thought there was 2 children at that school and their mom was not going to pick them up that day, then you would have to call them and warn them. If you were worried about Nicola, and also I'll tell you something, Eddie said this and it really hit home as well. Eddie said you'll be worried about the well-being of those children. You know, if someone's gone off the loop and something's happened to Nicola, or Nicola's gone off the loop, maybe you're worried that she might turn up at the school, try and take the children out of the school. Did the children definitely come dropped off at the school? You're worried about their welfare. So there's that as well. And that would instinctively come from either the parents and the family, because worried about their welfare, or the police would have that wider sense of vision in this case, which I overlooked. So thanks to Eddie for pointing that one out as well.
The inquiry team has undertaken a number, as I said, of dashcam, CCTV and ring doorbell footages. This is allowed...
We went through that yesterday. She made a list there and she included dash cam, ring doorbell and CCTV as different. So the CCTV that was forwarded to Jizzy True Crime from a friend of Paul's who happens to be a female or a male or some whatever, you know, that Jizzy True Crime is responsible for. That's the ring doorbell footage, and that's not the CCTV that she's referring to. There's a separate CCTV. Whether it's got her on it or not, whether this dashcam footage has got it on her, or you know, whether she's on it or not, they are looking at more than just what we've seen.
Of dashcam, CCTV and ring doorbell footages. This has allowed us to eliminate any trace so far of Nicola having left the riverside, which is really important. So we believe that Nicola was in the riverside area and remained in the riverside area. We remain open to any inquiries that might lead us to question that, but at this time, we understand that she was by the river.
Interesting as well that she said we're open to any inquiries that question that. So she said if you've got any, what she really said, reading between the lines, is if you're out there and you've got evidence that says she wasn't at the river and you're hearing me say this, don't let me poo-poo you, still come forward. I want to hear that she wasn't at the river. If you've got that, I want to hear it. That's what she's saying. At the moment, we're having to go on she was at the river, but we're open to be told that she wasn't. Please tell us she wasn't. You know, I like this woman. I think she spotted these angles, and I think she's got a sharp eye and ear out for it. That's what I think's going on here.
The main working hypothesis, therefore, is that Nicola has sadly fallen into the river, that there is no third party or criminal involvement, and that this is not suspicious.
Now, this was critiqued by some other people, but she said, our working hypothesis, therefore, is that. So she heavily qualified this with qualifying language, working hypothesis. Our working, not even our proper solid, our working hypothesis. So she's saying we're having to do it this way because we haven't found this correct evidence. She keeps mentioning dash cam and stuff. She's waiting for someone to come forward. She's wanting someone to come forward. She's got other balls in prepared motion. The minute someone can put that little brick in the slide, the ball can start come rolling down. She's just waiting for one more piece of information. You're right in chat. I see you talking to each other, saying something's just gossip. I didn't see exactly what it was. Yeah, careful of gossip. You know, careful of gossip. If you know things to be true because you've seen them for fact, okay. But if you've heard someone on Facebook say that you think someone else has heard it and said it, we don't tolerate that. We just don't go with it. You know, got to be careful.
Party or criminal involvement, and that this is not suspicious, but a tragic case of a missing person. This is particularly important because speculation otherwise can be really distressing for the family. and for Nicola's children.
She said this is particularly important because speculation otherwise can be particularly distressing. What she meant was, if anyone's got any information, it's pretty important you come forward with it, because there's this speculation going on by us, by others, and it can be hurtful. But if it's true, then, you know, we should be doing it. I read this in two ways. You know, some people say it as she's agreeing with the official narrative and she's creating the official narrative that she just fell in the river. But what she's really doing is saying, without the proper information, we cannot say otherwise. And sadly, I have to say she's fell in the river. Please come forward. It's especially important because there's all this speculation and it's hurting people, and we don't want everyone to be hurt. We want the right people to be hurt, you know.
In terms of what we would like from the public,
see, she's asking directly now for what she'd like from the public, so I'm right on this. This is her giving instruction to the public. Yeah.
I would like to thank them, particularly Nicola's friends, neighbours and the community of St Michael's and the...
That's the sun glitching. My YouTube doesn't make her look like a horse.
...wider area, who've come out in force to...
Again, they've come out in force, the same language Emma White used. I believe they see these people as, you know, a useful herd, so to speak. They've come out in force. There's lots of them, so we can send them out walking around the fields, but I don't think she respects them as thinking people. I believe she's been told a lot of gossip behind the scenes, and I bet she's as a very logical and like me, you know, she wants these facts. I bet every time someone comes up and says, you know, I heard someone's sister Sharon say that Paul Ansell's friend has been, like, I bet she hates all that gossip. I bet she's having to go through it and filter it. So she's happy with the community for coming out in force, but that's a lot of voices and a lot of things being said.
...help in the search for Nicola. I do have an update on the clothing that Nicola was last seen wearing, and this is something that the public who live in the area or who walk their dogs on the river path near to St Michael's or downstream of St Michael's towards Morecambe Bay can look out for.
Notice she said people who walk their dog downstream towards Morecambe Bay can look out for. So when we first did this, again, YouTube's brilliant because you can go back and look at all my old videos and you can see what we did. There's where I live. Whee! And whee! I know where it is now. It's up here, isn't it? Whee! This is where they live. And yeah, you can go back and look and see that we did this. The river, this is the river, it goes this way down to the sea, and we said that it's possible, like I remember on the early episode 11 facts, you know, just having a look, just having to think about what would possibly possibilities, looked at all different things, and one of the things that we brought up was we said if you go down this river, you're not going to throw yourself in at this bridge like here because it's so shallow. Like, this is not like a jump off the bridge, kill yourself bridge. Like, if you're I'm being brutal here, but if you're suicidal, you look at that and you think, well, it's not going to do the job. So you could walk further down and follow the river. You know, go on a big long walk on your own. Like, you could do that. And there are points where the river gets a bit more... You have to go for a bit of a walk, yeah? I want to say a bit of a walk. I do mean a bit of a walk. But over here, you've got a different bridge. And this bridge looks much more like if you jump in, you'll have trouble. Depending on how... Like, you can see the river rises and falls. It's tidal and it increases with water flow in the surrounding area. But the riverbank here comes down a sort of 2 foot. That river could have been up higher by about 2 foot maybe. This could get pretty busy, this part of the river. Maybe you could choose a different spot, you know, further down, beyond the weir. And so the police did consider that, is what she's telling me. Keeps going back to Stratford. If you want to come to my town and try and stalk me, then you're nutters. We get loads of tourists in our town. We'll invite you all one day for a Scotty Hottie open day. We'll invite everyone for a live show or something. I found another one. Like, this river gets bigger down here, you see. So I found another bridge as well, I think. Or was that the bridge? My point being that the police considered this as well. They went down as far, like, that was it. It was the Cartford Toll Bridge. You know, it's quite a walk, but it's achievable that you might think to walk off and choose a different stretch of river. Yeah.
They are an ankle-length black quilted gilet jacket,
Ankle length.
a black Engelbert Strauss waist-length coat, which was worn underneath the gilet.
So the gilet was ankle length and the coat was worn underneath. Like, people take a lot of stock by this, don't they? And they go in and like analyse what the police said she was wearing and all this. But she's reading this off a bit of paper, and that bit of paper has been supplied to her by Paul Ansell, because nobody else in the world is going to, like, they're not going to have the children write down what was mummy wearing. Was it her Levi Strauss jacket or was it her Burberry jacket? Like, they're going to ask Paul, what was your wife wearing that morning? Because he's the only one who fucking saw her. Like, they're not going to ask the eyewitnesses to determine what kind of wellies it was, are they? They're going to ask eyewitnesses to tell them. They're going to note down what the eyewitnesses said, and they're going to say, Paul, what was she wearing? And they're going to see if they match up. Like, this is Paul's testimony that she's reading out loud. So, like, and Silver Moon Warrior says it changed. I don't even care if it changed, because facts at this juncture, like I said yesterday, are liable to change. Like, if I ask you again, I don't want to bring my sister into it. Like, let's say I go missing. God, if I go missing, you know to go attack, don't you? No, probably 20 different million people on the internet hate me now. But Prince Andrew Epstein down to chuffing Alan and his nutters. What am I saying even? Yeah, things are liable to change. Like, I might have given a description and I might say to the police after 2 days, you know what, I found that jacket in our cupboard, it must be the other one. Or, like, I'm pretty sure it was this. Or, they're liable to change. The problem with what we've got here is that they might have changed based on the behaviour of the decoy. They might have changed on the behaviour of Paul Ansell or the messages he's sending to the police. Or it might have been a miscommunication. But it doesn't mean that I need to worry too much about it, because facts about what a missing person was wearing are going to be vague and fuzzy initially, and they're going to slightly change as things go on, maybe. So, Dover and Dolly's mum says the school has CCTV. Yeah, the problem with some of these CCTVs is that you have, like when you have a CCTV camera, you're not allowed to point it out at the world. You have to point it at your property. So quite often it will capture people coming through the door, but not the entire everywhere around the door or something like that. And like, I would expect if Nicola was not there and there was someone was dropping these kids off, then they don't have to, like, she doesn't have to get out and wander up to the camera and wave. Like, you're there a little bit early, the kids are all going in, the back door of the car opens, the kids get out, they go in the school. Like, I don't even know if you need to get out the car. So if she's not on that CCTV, it doesn't necessarily say to me either or. However, if she was on there, then it would, wouldn't it? But what I'm expecting is that, my belief, I guess, is that the decoy, potentially Emma, might have appeared to look a lot like Nicola from a slight distance, and that even other mums might have been surprised. Because you don't expect to see Emma dressed up as Nicola, and if you see her car and her dog and the kids, and she's dressed like her, and she's got the same makeup on and the same hair colour and all that, and she's wearing some sunglasses, then you might just think it's her. Coco, right? Whatever you say, you can say you've researched it, but it's like me saying like we're going to take your opinion with a massive pinch of salt. Because saying you researched it, like, where'd you research it? On Facebook? Like, have you got any facts? Oh, someone that lives in the area, I heard that they said that this. Did you? How did you qualify that they lived in the area? How did you, like, without showing your research, or at least alluding to exactly what your research is, then it's just hearsay. Like, you've got to go back to that evidence episode we did and decide on how you're sharing your evidence.
Sophie Crabtree sent tippies.
I don't want you to feel bad about it.
Love all your content. Let's see what happens in the inquest next week.
Nothing's going to...
Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thank you, Sophie. I'm looking... we're going to be covering the inquest, but I think people are getting their hopes way up about it being some sort of criminal investigation, and it's going to feature less information than we've already got in some ways. It's going to be an exploration of Nicola's life and her sentiment and her behaviour, and then it's going to be an autopsy report. That's the bit that we're going to hopefully get some, some movement on. Otherwise, and I don't even, there is a worry that that's going to not transpire to hold much new information, and then that'll be a petering out. I believe we should protest. You'll probably get arrested, but other than that, I think people are really pinning their hopes on this inquest. I still have, like a 10% of me thinks, 10% of me is hoping the police will find out a new piece of, no, not find out, but it will become public, and then they'll be ready with the door kicking. I saw the Mason's comment come up. Don't worry, I saw you retracted it. Listen, we're not going through all that bollocks again today.
Tight-fitting black jeans, long green walking socks tucked into her jeans.
Of course, they could have got this information from the CCTV that Paul Ansell or potentially Emma White supplied them, because that could be Paul's potential alibi, and Emma White was the one credited with sharing it in the media. So it could have been that they've just looked at that photograph and described what she's wearing in that photograph. But again, to have the brand name, you can't see it on the photograph, and you can't see what she's wearing underneath. So this is a description from a person who's written these things down.
Ankle-length green necked wellies.
It would also occur to me that if you had disposed of your wife's body and you'd noted down what clothes she wore, or maybe put them on her when you disposed, or maybe you've got those in the wardrobe and you've taken them out of the wardrobe and put them in a bag, or maybe Emma's worn them on the dog walk and then you put them in a bag and burnt them, you'd know what they were, down to the chuffing size.
And a necklace and a pale blue Fitbit.
The necklace and the Fitbit, this is what I think one of those items was thrown in the river to seem to prove that Nicola went in the river, and they haven't recovered it yet. That's what I believe about those two items, why they've been mentioned specific.
It's really important that the public pay heed to those very specific clothing descriptions, please.
Very specific.
Because factual sightings of those items would be very useful to us.
So what she's saying there is, in most drownings, she's not saying it, but this is what she's saying, is that in most drownings, some item of clothing will come off or get caught, and as you walk up and down the riverbank or something drift down the river, you'll see it. So she's hoping that it will confirm, if in 90% of cases, or in 90% of circumstances with Nicola, if she'd gone in the river, she would expect to see one of these items at some point during the river search. So she's hoping the public can confirm that, and that would lead her back to the river. But without it, not so hot.
We also appeal for any remaining dashcam footage that may not yet have been submitted to the police in this inquiry, particularly if people have that relating to the Garstang Lane area of St Michael's.
Some contention was thrown up about the naming of the road. Some contention was thrown up about the name. Actually, I should pick my local area to test this. This is Warwick. This is Stratford. What's this road? This road here is exactly the example. Right, between where I live, Stratford and Warwick, we've got a road. And if you come from Stratford and you drive to Warwick, we call it the Warwick Road because it's taking you to Warwick. And if you come from Warwick and you drive to Stratford, you call it the Stratford Road because it's taking you to Stratford. And on Google Maps, it's got both names there, Warwick Road, Stratford Road. Yeah? It's the same road, but it's got two names. That's incredible. And when you zoom in and out, where the names are on the road changes. I mean, it's the A46, but when you zoom in and out, the names change where they're positioned on the road, yeah? Because of the level of zoom you're on. Disappear completely when you go there. So some people got real het up about how up here you've got a road. Where am I going? I'm going too far. Up here you've got a road and it's called the Garstang Road, but it's also called the Blackpool Road. And that's because depending on where you are on the road and which direction you're going in, and you know, it's known as both things. That's all. You know, don't get worried. The Garstang Road. And it never said the Garstang Road, and it said the Blackpool Road and this and that. Like, Garstang Road, Blackpool Road. Depends which way you're going. That's my opinion on that. So, and I think it depending on how far in and out you zoomed, and it might have changed because Google Maps updates like automatically different reasons. I don't think Google are in on this conspiracy, and the police are able to go to Google in California. Right, whinging. I'm gonna try and quickly feed the cat because I think she wants food. I don't think the police are going to be able to talk to Google California. The police in Lancashire who are not the international mega British police. They're the police in Lancashire who haven't even got enough people on the ground to go fucking hunting in a field, and not going to be able to contact Google and convince them to change the names of the words on the maps. And Google are not watching this and involved on, you know, in this case. So you've got to get your head straight on that. It's just a simple anomaly based on, look, it's got both there. It says Blackpool, Garstang, Blackpool, Garstang. Yeah? Garstang, Garstang, Blackpool, Garstang. Depends which way you're going on the road. And Google Maps picks it up a bit funny. That's all that is. So don't worry about that.
Please can the public continue to report only factual information that they have and not speculation as to what may have happened to Nicola, because this is a distraction to the police inquiry and not helpful for the family. I would also appeal to the public to keep themselves safe in this inquiry. People going out at night in the darkness.
So, some quite interesting stuff here, of course.
Because this is a distraction to the police inquiry. And
it's a distraction to the police inquiry. They've had a lot of calls. They told you to ring 101 if you're a fucking nutter. I don't care if you think your nan's sister's auntie had a premonition. I don't care if you think through the spirit box you heard her in New York. I don't care if you think, like, we need facts because we're doing a police investigation. So all of your nonsense goes in the bin. And for me, on my channel, I say, oh, it goes in the bin. For her, she has to listen to it on the fucking phone, or her operatives have to listen to it on the phone. The police operator and call handlers have to listen to it. People are talking in the pub. Someone said something in the pub. All the people around the table went to the police the next day and said that they heard in the pub that this. You can't. We don't. If you've got something for real, come forward, right? And if you haven't, then please just don't. Like, this case is a great example. It's the same with the Madeleine McCann, but Madeleine McCann did it like they wanted it to happen. They wanted that smoke screen, and they set it up, and they encouraged it, and they got a load of money from people, and then the more money they got, the richer they got, and now they bought a big house. And like, this is different. She don't want to hear all your bollocks. She actually told you stop talking bollocks, and then she's now directing her attention to people who are going out walking. And actually, another reason I like her is she didn't come straight out with "fuck you TikTokers, get off the fucking scene. You're undermining the mainstream media here by reporting on this thing sooner and better than they can." No, she said, be careful out there. It's dangerous. We don't want another person falling in the river looking for Nicola Bulley. Now we have to fish out another body. She's seen this shit before. She's got your back. I like her.
To what may have happened to Nicola, because this is a distraction to the police inquiry and not helpful for the family. I would also appeal to the public to keep themselves safe in this inquiry. People going out at night in the darkness could fall into the river.
She's also worried that there might be someone out there killing people. You've got a woman gone missing. A vulnerable woman. At this point, we don't know if she's been told of Nicola's vulnerabilities, you know, but in her mind, you know, someone vulnerable has gone missing. Let's just keep into our mind that we've got loads of people wandering around at night, you know.
And face other hazards.
Other hazards.
If they...
You could read into that and say, oh, she's saying, you know, watch out for the Masons. But then she'd be murdered, wouldn't she?
And face other hazards.
Or is she in the Masons? I don't know.
Likewise, if they go out in boats on the river, please only do so if you've got experience in doing that.
She's worried about people in the river. She's worried about naive people doing stupid things by the river, which of course is a worry because I think she's seen it. If you've lived in that area for that long and you've been in the police that long, I think she's, like, the look in her face, I think she's seen tragedy. People said some quite mean things about her in yesterday's episode about how she looks. I'm not here to diss people on how they look, but I think she's seen tragedy. I think her life of service as a police officer and having to put her emotions down and front up, become the role, I think that has taken some toll on her, and I think this particular investigation brings back some bad memories for her. I don't know, it's just my reading.
We don't want people to be in danger. Lastly, I'd like to underline the support given to the family. It is, as I've said, an agonising time for them. Nicola has 2 little girls, a partner, sister and parents.
It's nice that she now told us in order. 2 little girls, a partner, sister and parents. So now I can revise what I've looked back on and say when she's talking about the family, her first thought is the girls and Paul, the immediate, live in the house together family. The sister and the parents came on the end of that list. So earlier when she said the family were alerted, she means Paul. They didn't ring they rang the school to alert the children. No.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier. Swish!
Thank you.
Alison Fox sent tippies. Love your streams. Never tipped you for some reason. Oops, sorry, so first one from me.
Thank you very much.
Super
Thank you.
Chuffer owes 6 hugs.
And I've just realised I've got the wrong tippies. Thank you, I really appreciate it if you're a new tipper as well. Little bits from everyone comes together and really helps me. This is going to be my job, this is my full-time life now. I'm a streamer, and not only do I want to, I have to wait to the end. I'm a self-employed person, so what I'm going to try and do is build a budget, spend it on making media, spend it on improving and going further forward. But at the end of the year, I can decide how much I can start, taking and living on and spending for myself. I will admit, I spend a little bit on my electric bill and stuff like that, the energy. But otherwise, I don't really go out and, I'm not out there eating in restaurants and, snorting cocaine off hookers. I'm trying to save up and build towards something stronger and more solid in the future, media quality, production, stuff like that. So I'm really grateful for your tippies. It all comes together and it all really makes a big difference to me. Thank you. And also, one of the massive things is that, some of you people have seen that I'd like to give a little bit to charity, yeah? I'm not changing the world. I'm not like Bill Gates out here. Some people don't like him. But you know what I mean? I'm not like some massive philanthropist who've got loads. I'm not Mr. Beast out here. But I can give a little more because I'm getting a little more. So I'm really grateful for that. It really makes me proud of what we're doing. And I've got to change this tippies thing because it says police say he's lying. It looks really bad, like I'm pointing at Paul Ansell. So let's just change it for a more generic police one. We'll go with the sexy police lady. Oh no, wait, what was that other one? Yeah, we'll go with that one. Someone getting arrested. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Where am I?
As well as many, many friends.
If you're watching offline, you can also tippy offline your chuffers. Somebody did actually, and I thank them as well. I forgot who it was because it happened offline, but thank you.
No, sister and parents. As well as many, many friends and neighbours and well-wishers in the local community. Friends and parent for them, for the family. It is, as I've said, an agonising time for them. Nicola has 2 little girls, a partner, sister and parents, as well as many, many friends and neighbours and well-wishers in the local community. We are supporting her family with specially trained officers and staff.
Interesting, we are supporting her family. She mentioned many, many well-wishers in the community, and then she thought about this person she was supporting. Her family. It's either like the mother has been particularly upset. It's a female, and either her mother has been we're supporting her family. Sorry, not Nicola herself, obviously, because she's dead. Missing. But we're supporting her. Was a funny pause, and I think she's thinking of a female character. But it's interesting that she said she's got many, many she went on from the family to these people in the public, and that included friends, neighbours, and well-wishers. Like people who don't even fucking know her are turning up out in the village hall to, be it's the big thing going on in the village. That's what she's saying. And then she's thought about this person, this female she's supporting. I wonder if Emma's got involved, this needing support, wanting to be part of the support. Because the more Emma can ingratiate herself with the process, it seems, the more information she has on the process. And it seemed like the knowledge would be helpful to the people that killed Nicola.
And I'd like to thank the wider community for all the support that they've given during this very difficult inquiry. Thank you.
I just want to address this as well. Enough now with Coco. If anyone's arguing with them, no arguing with them now. I don't want them to feel vindicated, bullied or anything. But I also want you to be aware, Coco, like I've said, stating things on here that are controversial and not backing them up. We don't really like that because it sounds like you're like, yeah, I can prove it, but I'm not going to prove it to you. So really, it's the sort of thing that somebody who's just talking bollocks says. So you yourself have to consider how you're perceived. And at the moment, people perceive you like you're talking bollocks because you're saying you've done research, but you won't tell people what it is. And you're saying statements, but you're not saying how they're backed up other than I've I've done the research, so there you go. You can either believe me or not, and that's the sort of thing people who talk bollocks say. So that's the problem. Is like, this isn't the forum for you to present that sort of stuff. You really should have your own channel, maybe. And the way you're presenting it, it's the same way as people who talk bollocks. They say something and then tell you it's got backup, but don't show you the backup. So I'm not saying you're talking bollocks, but I'm saying it looks bad for you the way you're presenting it. So I would reanalyze the way you're going in chat and throwing things in. A lot of people have been throwing things in here as well, but you know, it seems that people have been arguing back and forth with you. So, like, you know, I just wanted to address that so people don't have to argue back and forth anymore. Yeah. Like, and any further continuation of it, I will see Coco as the source of the you know, like, they're the ones saying things that haven't got any backup, that they're not backing up, and people are taking a problem with. So that's the problem. So stop doing that, and we'll carry on. Yeah. If you've got something to say that you want to back up, and we can talk about it, fine. But if you've got something to say that you don't want to back up, just don't say it anymore, because it's causing problems. How about that? Like, you're allowed to have all your opinions and all your different things. Say things, just my opinion, I think this, fine. But saying that you've done research and you've, like, you know, it adds this extra sense of gravitas that you're not prepared to follow through with.
I'm happy to take questions if there
And again, research could be great, couldn't it? You could have talked to the people that, you know, you could have seen the medical reports, or you could have been on Facebook. Like, some people say research is research, but actually they don't work as a researcher, or they haven't done a degree, so they're just like, you know, watching things on Facebook. I don't know anything about which one you're doing, so they are entitled to an opinion, David. Yeah, but it's the way the opinions are becoming controversial and causing discussions that people don't agree with, and it's becoming a thing.
Again.
So the opinion has been stated.
Andy sent tippies.
Thank you,
No
Andy.
saucy innuendo. While it's a serious stream, big UPS
There's Andy
MIMPS.
getting arrested.
Super chuffer owes 5 hugs.
So, you know, I'm happy for your opinions to come through, and you can keep stating your opinions, but it's this extra level of, I've done research and I'm backing it up, but I won't tell you what the research is. It becomes this, I've heard it before in different conversations. So, like, it makes me fed up immediately. So we've had it now. It's been had. That's why the people are getting eggy and going back and forth, is like, you're real. Yeah, you're a real person, but I don't know what you're saying backs up, because you're not saying, you know, we've been through it now. So Sasha's put the point there. I was interested in your research, but you won't say what you actually researched. Never mind. It becomes frustrating for people. So we've had it. We've got to the point of frustration. That's the end of it now. Otherwise, we're not going to keep going over it. Otherwise, what's the point? Okay. Okay, we're on questions now, and you can't hear the questions because this is, despite being a press conference, no one has thought to mic up the press.
Yeah, all the telephony and digital inquiries are being handled by the inquiry team, so all of that data will...
Very important, she said, inquiries, inquiry team. So earlier on, when we were inferring that why was the phone on the bench and why are we so sure about that, she's now saying it's digital telephony inquiries. She's associating the two words together, whereas before she brought up the word inquiries, and I said, why did you call it inquiries?
Someone sent tippies. Thanks for saying what we were all thinking, Scotty Blackheart hash.
Give her a kiss, look.
Super chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Bearing in mind, you're not, like, you know, one person here, Coco, is going to feel a bit put on there, but, like, you're quite, you know, I haven't banned you or timed you out, and you're quite, you know, your opinions are still valid and heard here, but it's that extra level, like I said, of saying that you've got this research and won't show it, and, like, it's these other levels. So you're not completely binned off, and, you know, just be careful. Like, if I were you, I'd be probably making my own YouTube channel, because it seems like what you're trying to say can't be said in comments like this, and creates a bit of a problem. So I'd probably put your research together in a YouTube video and then show it to people, and then you could just say, watch that.
Looked at. Thank you.
So now we're agreeing as well that what she said made sense with what we said earlier. The information that she's using, that she was talking about, the team, it is the phone on the bench.
Yeah, all the telephony and digital inquiries are being handled by the inquiry team.
Inquiry team.
All of that data will be looked at.
So they're behind the scenes. They're not out walking around messing about. They're in the office. They're the inquiry team. Things come to them. They follow it up. They verify it. They give you the information back. The inquiry team. Happy with that.
Thank you. Hi.
She got an actual big smile. Look, watch.
Thank you.
We saw that yesterday, this big smile, like at the end of a question, self-satisfied, almost like a fuck you, I've got this right, you know, correcting the mainstream, bit of pride. But also, there's a real smile following it with the, look, there's a real smile. And she's happy to see a friendly face in the audience. We saw yesterday that she was unhappy with some journalists. This is also this thing that I kind of get my egg on with this a bit. Somebody would be mean to one person and really nice to another. And you're like, you're being so nice to them, as if to say to me, fuck you, you're not being nice to me. It could be a double-edged sword, this, but she is happy to see this person and hear this question, or hear these. She thinks this person is not an ally necessarily, but is not here to fuck her over and make her look stupid. So she's happy. She might like this person. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think she said, did you find anything to support the hypothesis that she's fallen in?
No, not so far. Unfortunately not. That's why I particularly appeal around any clothing that may be matching the description I've given and that could be found, but nothing has been found in the river.
So that confirms what we said earlier as well, and it's very natural body language. I like these questions because she falls into her own natural body language. She's a bit more expressive, and this is what she really believes. No, we haven't found anything to suggest that she went in the river. Despite in the same press conference saying the big hypothesis was she went in the river, she's clarified that at the end and said, no, there's no way she's gone in that river. So interesting. I'm glad I didn't make a YouTube channel video where I said, oh, the police are saying she went in the river, because she's not really.
May be matching the description I've given and that could be found, but nothing has been found in the river. I should say that the river is tidal below the weir, so if you see repeated searches of particular areas of the river, it's not necessarily because we found something of note, it's because the river movement is complex, and we are taking advice from academic specialists in water movement around currents and so on.
Academic specialists. We've got that prideful smile again.
In water movement around currents and so on.
I like, in some way I really like this because it's quite a unique piece of body language she does, and it's almost like there's different aspects to it as well. I think it's like a sort of tick in a way that she does over the years, like when she's finished saying her thing and now she's got to listen to your bollocks. Like, I can feel her like shielding herself with it in a way. Like she must have dealt with so many people talking so much bollocks being a police person. You know, it's almost like this natural shield that she puts on. I quite like it in a way. But yeah, so academics have helped. So that's interesting because that's really doing proper work, isn't it? It's not saying we think this about the river, but we're going to go, like, an academic is not someone who is wandering around. It's someone in an office, like a professor, do you know what I mean? Like a specialist in the movement of the tidal water, an academic. So it's nice that she's receiving that sort of specialist. So when she said yesterday or the day before that she'd got, what were they called? She said she'd got consultant. She'd had consultants. Maybe that's the sort of consultancy she's talking about. And that's informed the way they've searched. So I'm pleased with that.
Academic specialists in water movement around currents and so on. Not that I understand, no. And again, this was normal. It was a large Teams call. She was one of many people on the call, and I wouldn't have expected to necessarily to participate actively.
That's interesting. That it was a large Teams call as well. So it's a little bit of interesting information. It seems that she's thoroughly looked through that, and she's happy with that.
Through telephony inquiries that we've done relative to the phone itself rather than through a witness.
Really clarifying that as well. How did you know the phone was on the bench? The telephony. So it's strange to me that she alluded to it earlier and now is really clarifying it. But all of those things added up. The way she said it earlier, the same language, and now the direct response to the question. So whether it's the truth or not, it's her truth and she believes it. I'm happy with this as body language, as a collection of things that you put together that tell the same story.
No.
What she said about the phone. Colette, I'm going to clarify this. Everyone thinks it's an eggy baby incoming. Just for everyone that doesn't know, I'm not having a baby with Colette. She's fucking nuts, and she's like got this. It's called the stream baby, which means that like she's having a stream baby. She's not actually pregnant with my baby, so don't think I'm some bad person for not entertaining my services as father.
Not that I'm aware.
They're all nutters. All my mimps, all my lovely mimps, my mimpets, the super chuffers, the chuffragettes. They're all nutters. I'm a nutter. We're all nutters, all right?
Not that I'm aware of today. Clearly, the public are very well intentioned and have given us a lot of information, quite rightly. They don't know whether it is of particular use or not, and obviously we can judge that, can't we? But
Yeah.
so far, it's taken a lot of effort and diligence to go through all the information that's been provided.
So she said what she's supposed to say, which is the right thing. Look, we can't. You don't decide, we decide. Give us all the information, and then she qualified that with, but so far it's all been. And she wanted to say it's all been a load of fucking fishwifery and nonsense, but she was short to do that. I mean, I wonder what could you imagine if you're a police officer and like half the stuff you're being told by these people is nonsense? It must really frustrate you, mustn't it? And out there in amongst it, there's probably a little sliver of like something right, and you've got to decide what it is. It's quite difficult. Drama Armour, how very dare you? Look, it's not me. Andy Cock will speak for yourself, nutter. Right? You're all eggy at me now because Colette's not a nutter. She's not a nutter, but people that go on the chat think that she's having my baby, and they don't know who I am, and she thinks she's having my baby. I don't know, like, it makes me look interesting of all things, I suppose. But I just wanted to qualify that. And you're all nutters. You are. We do Nutter Watch. You're not as bad as the nutters on Nutter Watch, on Battery Exhausted. You're not as bad as the nutters on Nutter Watch, are you? But like, you're pretty fucking fruity. I'll tell you that. Okay, if you're not nutters, you're pretty fucking fruity.
Taken a lot of effort and diligence to go through all the information that's been provided, and we'll continue to do that right through the weekend and into next week. Hello.
Earlier today, one of Nicola's friends said that she was holding a new torch of hope because of the amount of calls that police have had. Can you tell us a bit about how many calls or pieces of information you...
This nodding while she's talking. I think she's quite a smart, intelligent person, and I think once the question has started to be asked, she's got it in her head. Yeah, okay, I know what you're saying. I know what the answer is here. Like, this nodding is to show that you are listening and being, the person that's talking is being heard. But also, she kind of wishes this questioner would shut up so that she can start answering the question, because she's like a step ahead. I like her.
A bit about how many calls or pieces of information you have from members of the public.
And it was also like, this woman was making almost like a list about, can you tell us about the calls, the information? So she's in her head saying, okay, the calls, the information, the public. She's like making a mental list. So I quite like that as well. I think she's quite mentally sharp,
Calls or pieces of information you have from members of the public.
And
Any idea about the number?
I can't give you a number, but I know there have been a lot of calls today. Clearly, 7 days on is a really good time for people to think back, particularly if they have perhaps a particular work pattern where maybe they might be working on a Friday or not working on a Friday. It's again Friday today, and that will probably take them back to what they were doing last Friday. Were they driving through St Michael's at around 9:15? Were they dropping children off? Were they going off to work? What were they doing last Friday that they might always do? That would be helpful for us to know if it's relevant to the inquiry.
There's the face again. She said the right sort of thing there. It's a week on, so you can jog your memory with this. It's more of a media statement. This, the way the police make an appeal. It's Friday again, and on Crime Watch, you might remember last week, and it's like a. But also, I think she didn't say the answer to the question really, which was that a week on, it's taken off on Facebook, and now the world and his wife are contacting me about fucking bollocks they've read on Facebook.
Hello.
Can you just explain to me why you're so sure she didn't leave the riverside? Are there no kind of cross-country routes, no other ways out at all that could have been taken?
Yes, several of the exits from the Riverside area are either locked or they're covered by CCTV. So we've been able to look at that CCTV, negate Nicola leaving the local area. The areas that are not covered by CCTV is where we've been particularly interested in dashcam footage.
Brilliant.
So that's
I like that, because I always wondered, and we always talked about, and we didn't really go into full depth on the other end of the walk. This gate. There was a Curtis video where the Rowan Water gate,
It's
Curtis
raining
went...
again. I couldn't be happier.
Swish, and then Lovely Jubbly sent tippies. Great stream tonight, Scott. You look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves.
Thank you very much.
Super Chuffer owes 5 hugs.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Second of 2 streams tonight, so I I'm feeling a little bit hot and tired, and I might have to have a quick bathroom break. I'll let this roll while we do, but we're an hour and a half in. I think we're doing good work. I really would also like to make sure we get onto that second press conference because it's sort of promised, but we've got a bit of time tomorrow as well. Got a bit of time tomorrow as well. This end here, this is the padlock gate she's talking about. Curtis went in there. Pretty sure it was Curtis. Was it the other person? There was another person who was boots on the ground. And what happened was someone who works here as like a caretaker. Again, this was on video. I've seen it. So I'm not making up bollocks here. It might still exist on video if I need to find it. But I haven't got the video right now. I'm just relaying this information. So take it as you want. But I watched the video. I went in. The caretaker came in and said, you can't really be wandering around here. What's going on? It was a lovely little fishing lake and little cabins as like a little hotel holiday thing. They went in and they said, you can't be in here. What's going on? And they, oh, sorry. I was just, oh, sorry. The gate down this end, all the trees and stuff, I think it's possible you could climb over it. But I think any reasonable person would see it as a little bit of a, it's not the sort of gate that if it's locked, you just jump over. It's not got a little stile next to it. It's got a proper big fence and a proper gate in it. So like, like a proper door thing that you could get over it, but I don't think you're going to in a hurry. Or you might have to be in a hurry in order to want to. Like, it just seemed like a strange option for Nicola to have gone out this way of her own accord through a locked gate, having to climb over it. Like, it all seemed a bit weird, yeah? But it didn't seem weird. If you drop the dog off on the phone and then fuck off, you might come over that and jump over. The other problem, though, with that as an exit is there was a guy there that was working there as like a caretaker, and he was straight over. He was like, hello, what's going on? Maybe because of Nicola Bulley being missing, they were more on it, and they, put a caretaker in. But maybe there is just someone there who, like, doesn't really want trespassers. Maybe they have people poaching the fish. I don't know. But they were on it. So they were on it on the video, talking to... And he seemed like a nice chuffer. He didn't seem like he was some nutty murderer, like waiting for someone to walk past and then grabbing them over the gate. That didn't seem like the way that would work. So I'm glad that the police were on this and have verified it. Whether you say the CCTV works here, someone said some of the cameras did and some didn't. They seem happy they've checked this. And they're not asking for a load of CCTV from this road, are they? They're not asking... Well, I suppose the Garstang Road does cover this. It does cover this. Up this end, Garstang Road. Up here. But they're not... I mean, maybe it does. Maybe they are asking for that. Maybe they feel this is the area that they don't have. I was always thinking that the area they don't have the CCTV was this area. Once you start going through this more built-up area, I'm guessing that there's more chance to have CCTV. And then this is the other entrance onto the Garstang Road from this direction. You'd have to go up this way and get back on the Garstang Road there. So you've got these buildings here, these properties that may have CCTV. I don't know. It's just interesting that she's brought that up, isn't it? Maybe we should go into it in more depth in future.
Garstang Lane leading to the A586. If we can definitively cover off that 10-minute window in particular and the few minutes either side, then we will know definitively that she has not left the area because of the lack of footage or footage showing that she didn't.
Don't worry, I see you in chat.
But we are
I'm first.
as sure as we can be that Nicola did not leave the area.
There's nowhere that there were cars parked, so she could have been in a car, for example, where we would
No.
see it on the dash cam.
No. All the exits to the area that she was, as I say, are either locked, covered by CCTV, or Garstang Lane, we're appealing for dashcam footage to cover that gap. At the point where the bench is located, there is quite a steep drop to the, albeit not high, it is steep. And therefore, whilst I don't want to speculate as to what may have happened, it is our working hypothesis that she's entered the water accidentally, and that's why there is no further physical evidence on the field.
Interesting, because she sort of backs up the hypothesis there, but she's not really backing up the hypothesis. She's not saying the hypothesis is she went in and this is good because like these are my evidences. She's saying, look, because we've only got this, we're having to say this. It's not. She was acknowledging the flimsy nature of the hypothesis there, I believe, but she was also being very diplomatic and careful because this is where she's being a good police spokesperson. Questions like this, when it got in some of the other questions she's had, she's found them more difficult. And at the start of this press conference, she slipped into colloquial language rather than the jargon, or the more I want to say illustrative, not illustrative, but the more verbose language of the formal police spokesperson. With questions like this, where they asked her, they said, "Oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" She knows, I don't think about this and that. I'm a police officer, and according to the facts as I see them as a police officer, this is my statement. You know, she's careful there, and it's almost dispassionate the way she delivers it. But I actually see within a sort of muted anger, like she's half cocking this mouth, she's half raising the eyebrows, almost raised the whole time. But I think she's saying, this is the working hypothesis, but it's fucking flimsy, and I'm not happy with it. Rather than, this is the working hypothesis, go out and check the river again, because she's definitely in the river, you know.
That she's entered the water accidentally, and that's why there is no further physical evidence on.
And she got the and in there, which is her poker tell of when she's about to tell you something that she's not supposed to tell you, so she has to stop saying that and say something else instead. Like, in her mind,
it is our working hypothesis that she's entered the water accidentally. And
it's the working hypothesis she's entered the water accidentally, but because we've got no other evidence to support that, I don't really think that, and I'm starting to think something else can't be said. So instead, and
that's why there is no further physical evidence on.
And that's why there's no evidence. It's not why. She just said earlier that if you went in the water, you'd expect to see other evidence, clothes floating, and we were hoping to see this. We didn't, so we're going to stick with this as the working hypothesis. But she had other ideas going on here. I'm really happy with her. I know she got taken off, you know, and it was taken off through a political perception of her handling of the media, which is why I'm focusing on the media here, really. It's sort of what I'm supposed to be. But what's going on? Eddie Bolland, are you all right? Are you talking to me? You're talking to me. Nobody. Eddie, we'll keep you in chat, right? You're allowed to, that's your strike, yeah? That's your strike. You can calm the fuck down now and decide what you think about this content after you've listened to some more. But you seem to be new in chat, so any more of that and you get timed out and then binned off. But it's an interesting opinion. It's an interesting opinion.
The field. She can swim, yes. It's different depths, actually, which is why we've had some.
Why don't you in chat tell me whether you think Eddie's right, Eddie Bolland there? Do you think I'm conning you out of subscriptions and money? If you're not subscribed, now's a good time to subscribe. Eddie, I don't know if you're subscribed, but you can subscribe for free. So I'd get subscribed if I were you, Eddie. Tell me in chat, you know, do you think I'm doing a good job here? You know, got a little troll in chat, like maybe they can judge the temperature of the water. What do you think in chat? Am I doing a good job? Is the episode going well? Are you feeling like I'm providing you with any value? The simple contract here is that I provide value, and if you enjoy it, you might consider supporting it, you know? But first I've got to provide the value. So if I'm not doing a good job, I'm quite happy to, work harder at it, I suppose. Am I providing the value for you? Are you getting is it going well? I know it's just a troll. I'm using it to leverage against the trolling, though. I think it's quite funny because the reaction they expect and what they're going to get now is different. What's now happening is my chat rate has gone up, and it's gone up with loads of positive stuff. So, like, it's worked. I've managed to leverage that against them, and it's worked the opposite way. So, haha. It's just nice, isn't it? And I get all these positive feedback, so that makes me feel good. So, yeah. Poor Eddie Bolland. I want to say the full name because I don't want anyone to think I'm saying about Eddie's vinyl break, you know, because Eddie's vinyl break's big up, big cool. Or maybe someone's, in chat there, maybe someone's getting eggy, you know. Maybe someone's just watched my previous episode on battery exhaustion and has got well eggy. So, do you know what we're going to do? Maybe I should do it now. No, now's not the right time. You know, we give to charity on the streams. You know, I'm really grateful that we do that. We're going to start the Angry Alan art competition. We do it over on the other channel, and there'll be a cash prize. So we'll give some cash back. We'll give some, I say cash, it'll have to be PayPal because I'm not going around your house with dollar bills. But we're going to do an art competition, and we're going to give some back because I want to make sure that anyone out there who's, you know, it's not all take at this end. So don't worry about that. So you want to stick around, Eddie, whoever the troll was, they want to stick around, they might do a good painting and they might earn themselves 50 quid, you never know.
Staff wading the river and some staff underwater search. But as I say, the sheer number, actually an unprecedented amount of technical equipment with the sonars, the pole cameras, the dogs, the surface searches, the underwater
Can I address, as Candice said, the skip pool car park incident? I don't know what that is.
search. It is really so very thorough that we have discounted finding anything in that immediate area underwater.
So what she just said there was very clear as well. I really enjoy her work. She said it's so clear that, like, you know, you can see from what she said that she does not believe that Nicola has gone in there and drowned. And yet she's had to front that is the working hypothesis. It makes me wonder, because she's got a boss, remember, and she's about to go on in front of the mainstream media. And I wonder if before you go, it doesn't matter how high up you are and what spokesman you are, I wonder if before you go in and do this, you have a meeting. And I wonder if certain things are said in the meeting. And I wonder if certain things are like, what are you going to say? What are you going to say the hypothesis is? And, you know, whether she's obliged to some people to say, we think this is the working hypothesis. Because what she just said there in her answer seemed to contradict that.
That we have discounted finding at the surface searches, which is why we've had some staff wading the river.
I'm just going to quickly take a bathroom break and I'm going to leave it running so you're not missing anything. I mean, you're not going to come and watch me having a bathroom break. You're missing that, but you don't want to see that.
It's different depths, actually, which is why we've had some staff wading the river and some staff underwater search. But as I say, the sheer number, actually an unprecedented amount of technical equipment with the sonars, the pole cameras, the dogs, the surface searches, the underwater search, it is really so very thorough that we have discounted finding anything in that immediate area underwater.
Are there any factors with Nicola that may have contributed to the situation? So was she ill, or was she taking any medication or underlying condition?
We're not considering, we've clearly considered the whole picture, but that is not relevant at this time, no, not at all. Correct. So Nicola was last seen by a witness at 9:10 and the phone was back on the bench at 9:20 or thereabouts, yes.
Oosh.
Yeah. All of the timeline details, what the police have been doing every day, what we're intending to do over the next few days is all relayed to the family. So that
these are almost like admin questions, and I'm not critiquing anything she's saying. I can't really hear the questions properly, but we'll get through them.
Kept updated and they're aware, yeah.
Why would you imagine that she didn't have her phone in her hand or in her pocket when she fell?
The dog was off the lead. This was normal for the dog to run about, and Nicola was on a Teams call, which again, it would be normal for her not necessarily to participate in actively and just to have the phone to listen in effectively. You do, but anything could have happened with the dog whereby Nicola may have gone, and I don't wish to speculate in that we don't know, but it is possible as the dog was loose and off the lead that there may have been an issue with the dog that led her to go near to the water's edge. She puts the phone down to go and deal with the dog momentarily, and Nicola may have fallen in. So that is a possibility. Whereby Nicola may have gone, and I don't wish to have the phone to listen to. The dog was...
Hang on. I want to kind of hear the question here, but I can't. It's so frustrating when, like, this is top bins, isn't it? This is the top end of media production. This is the police talking to the mainstream media for Nicola Bulley's press conference, and they can't mic up the fucking questions.
Relayed to the family so that they're kept updated and they're aware, yeah.
Why would you imagine that she didn't have her phone in her hand or in her pocket when she fell?
Why do you think she didn't have a phone in her hand or in her pocket when she fell? So it's important for now for police lady, I think her name's Sally, to make it clear that the hypothesis could fit. Because otherwise they look stupid saying this is the hypothesis and it doesn't fit. Why wouldn't it doesn't fit? Well, then it's not the hypothesis. It's a good question as well.
The dog was off the lead. This was normal for the dog to run about, and Nicola was on a Teams call, which again, it would be normal for her not necessarily to participate in actively and just to have the phone to listen in effectively.
But you normally have it out
You do.
You normally have it out in your hand. Do you remember, I just can't believe I have to say this on my mainstream channel, but that idiot said you can't hold the phone out in front of you while you walk around with it. Like, you can't do that. You can't walk around with your phone the whole time. Your hand will get tired. And I watch streamers who like go around with their phone the whole time, just doing the stream for like hours, holding it up on a stick and shit. Like, come on. Like, you would normally have your phone in your hand, yeah? This does make the hypothesis seem weird. Why would you set the phone down on the bench? That just is not a voluntary action by many. Like, even today, I was walking the dogs and I sat on a bench and I put down some stuff because I was using the dog leads and my hands and the lighters. The phone that I was listening to didn't get put down on the bench because it's my phone. I'm careful about that. I don't just leave it lying around. Put the lighter down and put the other stuff. I usually hold my phone. So I just totally think I agree with this. And now she's having to create a situation where the phone sits into the hypothesis. And again, I don't think that's because she personally is trying to put across to you that this is the way it is, and she wouldn't have put the phone down, and she would have put the phone down because she would always put the phone down. The hypothesis works. I think because she's the police spokesperson and the police official as a group, maybe even including her higher ups, have decided that this is the official hypothesis. So when she's questioned on it, she's going to say, we can make that fit the hypothesis. But what she said to us earlier was, I'm not so sure this hypothesis holds water. It's a bit flimsy. We're looking for more information. If anyone can come forward with one tiny piece of information, I can put this hypothesis in the bin and I can start on this other hypothesis, which I've got ready to go. And unfortunately, the public have come forward with a lot of information, but it's not good information, and it's a lot of hearsay and bollocks. And, you know, some people think that there's chuffing, you know, this and that. Like, she's been quite clear about that as well, through between the lines, not quite clear, but between the lines, and it feels to me like she's in the same frame of mind as we are, in the same investigative and the same questioning frame of mind, but because of, and I'll reiterate, because of her position and her role, she has to state the approved narrative at this time, almost like a robot, and therefore this question about the phone on the bench is going to fit. She's going to make it fit, but it doesn't mean she believes it and thinks it fits. I think she smells the fish just like we smell the fish. I don't know what Minky wants. She's messing about. Do you want to go out or in or what? Everyone's chilling. It's just you now, Minky. I've fed you. I'll feed you again. You want to go out? No, I'm going to feed her something different because she doesn't seem to want the food. I'll just give her... I'll have to eat the cat food later. Let's run this, and we've got one more after this as well. So.
Have the phone to listen in effectively. You do, but anything could have happened with the dog whereby Nicola may have gone, and I don't wish to speculate in that we don't know, but it is possible as the dog was loose and off the lead that there may have been an issue with the dog that led her to go near to the water's edge. She puts the phone down to go and deal with the dog momentarily, and Nicola may have fallen in. So that is a possibility. The dog was dry, yes. Hello.
Sorry, that was my sort of question. The dog was off his hands.
Yes.
It was normal.
Yes.
Was there any chance the dog was itself coming in the river, or did it she's falling trying to get that was working experience?
We don't believe the dog was in the river because the dog, we believe, was dry, and the witnesses who were part of the timeline that I've laid out have not described the dog, for example, swimming in the river or jumping into the river. So we assume the dog didn't get into the river, but we don't know why Nicola may have entered the water if she did.
We all take that for granted as well, although I've got a dog, and if it went in the river and then an hour later I was assessing how dry it was, depending on the breed of dog, it may have dried out. But I would agree, like, you know, if the dog doesn't look like it's been in the river, maybe it hasn't. You would also, I can't believe no one talks about this. When I go out to the woods, I see deer footprints. I know whether they're fresh or not based on how deep the impression is, what the weather's been like. I can see the moisture content of the soil in the footprint. Like, you know, there are ways to determine simple things. Dover and Dolly's mum, the cat is called Shakima Greggs, Detective Shakima Greggs, like in The Wire. But yeah, there are ways to detect things like simple things in the woods. Like, I'm not Bear Grylls out here, but like I can see if a deer's been going by, and I can see that look like there's, you know, some tracks there. This is a human footprint. Like, why are we not looking at the riverbank with that analytic eye and saying, here are dog footprints that match up with doggy, and they match? You know, take a plaster cast, that's confirmed. Here's Nicola's wellies. This is where she slipped. Like, why is no one doing that?
I couldn't be happier.
Subi sent tippies. Super Chuffer owes 9 hugs.
Here's you, look. You're getting your kisses. You've been arrested, but you're getting your kisses. Thank you very much for the 9 hugs. That's really nice, thanks. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I call the cat Minky as well, though, yeah. I'm surprised that no one was doing the detective work on the, riverbank and have taken photographs and, even if people have been walking around there, like a footprint would have made a massive difference, wouldn't it?
And how long will the sort of missing person inquiry be, the scale it is in terms of search?
That question was, how long will this missing person inquiry be? And she got a little blink of stress and a sort of sigh, which says to me, she's thinking it's going to fucking drag on for ages if we don't find her, and we're going to be like, you've got to understand as well these behind the scenes pressures to allocate resources, and the longer it goes on, the more media pressure, the more public pressure. Of course, she can't decide whether cases get solved. She's seen enough over her time that haven't, and the cost of it and the time cost, the human hours that she's got to allocate to this case, and it's her job. She's the lead investigator. There's pressures on her here. How long will this go on? It's like asking her, how much pressure can you take? And how long will it go on? She hasn't got the answers to when it will stop, but she's under the pressure.
Well, clearly, a 15-kilometre stretch of river is long, and therefore, our partners continue to assist us in that. So there are lots of things that we'll be doing over the weekend in terms of water, surface and riverbank searching, and our partners will be working with us into next week, but it's too early to say at this stage how long it.
Big ups in chat, Lucia. I saw what you were saying there. I haven't investigated that channel really, but the lead clipped onto the bench thing, there were lots of photographs. I've got a photograph of a phone on the bench. There were lots of photographs taken after the event by media who wanted to recreate scenes at the bench so that they could get illustrative photographs for their media. So there's that exists. Plus, we've got an account of somebody attaching the dog to the bench, not by string. No one said string. I don't know where strings come from. But if I were working in that situation and there was a dog lead and then there was a dog, I would probably clip the lead to the bench and attach the dog to it. So it'd be pretty hard to be sure if you've seen a photograph of a dog lead on a bench that it means anything. You'd have to have the actual metadata to confirm exactly when this photograph was taken and how it exactly fits in. And the people that were on the scene at the time that were discovering the dog lead, discovering the dog, they weren't taking any photographs. Yeah, the people that we are publicly known were there on the scene. They're not even the generation that use the mobiles to mess about like that really. Then you wouldn't like think I've got to take a photograph of this lead and a photograph of this and a photograph of this just in case. So I'm not. So I would think it's unlikely those photographs exist, but the before the on the scene photographs. Whereas this photograph here, what is evidence is of this very bench, and it has a phone on it, and it was taken by one of the mainstream media who put their phone on it so they could take a photograph of it. So you've got to be aware that those things are definitely out there, and you've got to be careful about just because I've seen a picture, what does that mean?
It's raining again. I couldn't be
Thank you, Curious Cat.
Curious Cat sent tippies. In anticipation of tomorrow.
It's going to be big fun tomorrow, isn't it?
Waha. Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
It's going to be big fun tomorrow. I hope everyone takes it in the form it's intended. I really do. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Take one more question, if I may, from someone who hasn't yet asked a question. Thank you.
Notice she said there as well, we'll take one more question from someone who hasn't yet answered. Because I told you yesterday, she's always in the role of asking the questions. She's not so often in the role of being asked the questions. So even in her own mind then, in this process of being questioned, she slipped the tongue someone else that hasn't been asked, because she's so used to being in control and asking the questions. I like it.
Ask the question. Thank you.
It's raining again. I couldn't be happier.
Thank you, Kurt and Lisa.
Lisa Kurt sent tippies. Scott is our favourite to watch on YouTube. Bigger and better things to come XX.
Thank you.
Super Chuffer owes 5 hugs.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I think what we'll do, Keely asked what time is it dropping. I think what we'll do is, to cause Alan the most difficulty, is we'll do a live stream and roll into it, so that we'll probably... I want it to be a premiere on the channel, so I'll have to set it up as a premiere. I don't know if I can stream and have a premiere going at the same time, but I'd quite like to do that. And then we can react to it as conversation. He'll have to watch and react to it, and hopefully right before his live show or during his live show, that'll happen for him. And then, you know, he'll have to deal with that, won't he? And that'll be interesting, because then we can restream his stream and laugh at him reacting to it, sort of thing. I don't know exactly how those things will come together, but what I'll do is I'll set it up as a premiere tomorrow, and then I'll set up a live stream just for the hour before it. We'll gather a few of you in the chat and we'll watch a few Alan bits and pieces, and then we'll drop the video and it'll all kick off. And I'm saying that, maybe I'll just drop the video and not be online, just let it kick off, but I think that's the plan, something like that.
This is a large rural area with a long stretch of river.
Bearing in mind, that makes me sound a little bit vindictive, but I'll quite happily say I'm quite a lot vindictive with this shit. I don't suffer a load of bollocks. I don't. Today, when he was manipulating women and saying specifically it's small channels and women that I'm having a pop at today, I don't put up with that bollocks, you know. I just don't. I'm not having it. So quite happy to be a little bit vindictive about it tomorrow, and I think you'll all agree. So it might seem like I'm, oh, why not just drop it today? Or you're holding it till tomorrow. Yeah, I want maximum impact at the right time, thanks. It's too late now. It's happening.
All I can say is that we are doing absolutely everything possible. We are working tirelessly, long hours, with a very large team of both plainclothes and specialist uniformed officers to try and do everything we can to bring Nicola home.
Plain clothes. She mentioned plain clothes again. Yesterday we analysed some of the earlier stuff where she made a list of the different police people that were involved, and she mentioned uniform officers, but she didn't mention plain clothes. But I assumed that there had been plain clothes officers, because otherwise why would you mention uniform officers? Here she confirms it. Very interesting. Why do you need plain clothes officers? I'm very interested in that. It's just a little thing that got slipped in there. I'm very interested in it. It shows me what I'm hoping for. This is like, now she's off the case, I wonder if I can get an interview with her. This is my favourite person. We've met a lot of different characters in the Nicola Bulley story so far. I've been watching them. They're characters in our streams now. We watch them here, they talk, and we analyse them, you know. We've had Emma White, we've had Paul Ansell. We haven't really done Peter Folding strongly. We can come on to him later. There's a whole story. I think at the end of the inquest and stuff, we might tell the Peter Folding story. You know, we might do that as a whole stream. Curtis counts as a character, doesn't he? She's a character now in my mind that I've met through this, and I like her. She's my favourite one.
To try and do everything we can to bring Nicola home to her family, but it is a very complex and challenging situation. And
she says to bring her home to her family, which is really incredible. This is a week on. They don't think she's dead. She doesn't think she's dead, necessarily. She wants to bring her home.
To try and do everything we can to bring Nicola home.
Or maybe she does think she's dead, and because that's vague, bring her home, isn't it? But I think bring her home, hope of her being alive.
To her family.
To her family. Now, Paul, earlier the family was the kids, Paul, the sister, the parents. So to her kids would be, but she says to her family, does she include Paul? Or is the because she doesn't think she's coming home to Paul? Like maybe she thinks if she is coming home, she won't want to be at home with Paul. You know, maybe she knows something behind the scenes that we're not, because we know there was a welfare check now as well, don't we? So I'm worried, like that, sort of step over that statement and the idea that you would bring her home to her family, like as a, would we? Yeah, okay, to her family. Like, I'm questioning that. I like that. But I like it because it shows me that she's questioning the right things.
Viking Shield Maiden sent tippies. I haven't won the lottery yet, but when I do, I'm sharing. Love what you do. Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Like I said earlier, you know, lots of little 3 hugs makes up to a lottery win for me. I'm really grateful for it. I have been doing this for years to a smaller audience, but as things grow and as we move forward, this is the fuel that pushes me forward, and the hope and the joy. It's not just the fact that you're, you know, there's money attached to it, but the fact that you would choose to share with me in that way, I'm very grateful. I am. So thank you for that.
To try and do everything we can to bring Nicola home to her family, but it is a very complex and challenging situation, and we hope for a good outcome.
We hope for a good outcome, yeah. So do you think she's alive? There's a possibility she's alive?
Well, as each day goes...
The thing about that one, I'm just going to be a bit more frank and straightforward as we move through the end of this, because we need to get on to the next one. I'm starting to feel my brain wane a bit. It's quite hot. I've been on stream for about 5 hours now, 2 hours into this one. I'm thinking maybe we do the other episode as a separate episode, but I don't want to tease you too much with that, you know. But what I really like about, or what I really like, some things that are still optional that people don't talk about a lot with the Nicola Bulley case is that in some way behind the scenes they could be involved in a drug gang or trafficking, and that Paul could be involved in that, and through some financial irregularity has owed someone money, and it's possible they could go after your wife, your partner, and hold them to ransom, or, you know, if you don't pay us by a set date you should end up in the river. You know, it's possible that sort of stuff can happen. People suggest this because the area of the world they're in, the fact that there have been extensive drug busts in recent memory in that area of the world, the fact that it's a port into the UK, so people on boats, tidal river, you know, maybe shipping drugs, county lines. There's lots of reasons why people might think that there's a connection in that. And it wouldn't also be outside the realm of possibility for Nicola herself to have become wrapped up in that world in some way, and for her to be the actual direct victim of this rather than an innocent bystander. That's not something I really think, you know, that goes closer to the Mason stuff, and I don't want to get murdered by drug dealers for calling them out on the internet. So, you know, I'm not really 100 on that. I'm not really, but it's interesting that she says, you know, to bring her home, a positive outcome, the hope of a positive outcome to bring her home. It makes me feel in some way that Nicola's being held somewhere rather than as choosing not to come home, because you're bringing her home. Not we can encourage her to come home, that Nicola might come home, but we might bring her home. So that involves some sort of rescue. It makes me think of films like, you know, Die Hard's not a film like that, is it? But, like, you know, it makes me think of an action film where someone goes and rescues the hostage. It made me feel that she was in a situation where she needed to be rescued. That's what I'm saying there. So that's my feelings on it. I said I didn't want to you know, I'm not going to try and repeat myself over that. I'm just going to say it, and we've said it.
Well, as each day goes on, we become very much more concerned for Nicola's safety, but we have the best minds and the best trained officers available to us, as well as a number of very specialist partners. So every potential possible way of improving our chances of finding Nicola are being exploited. Thank you. Okay. Exploited. Thank you. Okay.
She goes through a number of facial expressions as she gets up to leave, but this micro expression in the middle of them is, even though it's, you know, I need more, I was going to say I need a panel of body language analysts, but there is a panel out there on the internet, and they're not much cop for me, but they have been in the past, but they seem to have gone well off the board with this Nicola Bulley stuff. There is a real smile that comes after it towards her colleagues who are off to the side, and she uses them to go off to and talk to in just a second you just saw, and that gives her this sense of, oh, I'm still busy, oh, sorry, I finished with the media now, my colleagues need me, and it allows her to get out of this mental space. So she's happy with that as a relief that it's off there over there. But before that,
very specialist partners. So
what after that?
Potential possible way of improving our chances of finding Nicola are being...
Very diplomatic answer to that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. She looks down here, like with a sort of anxiety. Shame? Looking down is shame. Not wanting to make eye contact is lack of confidence. Again, do you know what? What annoys me about it? Give her a snog, all right? Give her a little kissy. What annoys me about it in a way is that I can see why some of the... I shouldn't play to that audience, but I can see why some of the PSYOP people might say, well, she's being forced to say this. You know, she's sad about having been forced to say that. There's a shame. Maybe it's the shame of not having fixed these problems for these people. Maybe it's the shame of having to do a press conference as a police officer where you say, we haven't really got any good leads and we haven't found her. You know, maybe it's the shame of being told from higher up to say, we think she's gone in the water, and really she doesn't. Maybe it's the shame of her own, like, she seems like that big smile, that lips thing was involved in pride in some way, so it's self-image, and maybe it's her own sense of failure to her, you know, maybe she's beating herself up in her mind, like, you know, you could have done better here. Like, did you do a good enough job on the press conference? Are you doing a good enough job on the job? You know, I think she critiques herself, like, as an astute and analytic mind. I think she applies that astute and analytic mind to her own performance, and is her own worst self-critic. So I feel that there's some sense of shame in that face in some way at the end there, which is strange. I didn't expect to see that micro expression there for that moment. And then she's up, and as I say, she's off now to her colleagues with a raise the eyebrows. That went all right. They said probably to her, they probably said, well done, you know, you've done good there, or, you know, the positive feedback as you come off the stage, isn't it? Or she's looking for it. Okay, she says, okay, and then they've got something to talk to her about. So I don't know if this is contrived or not, but it seems like, you know, in front of the media, never too busy to start working again. Look, we're into, sorry media, I can't look at you or talk to you anymore. I've got busy police people to talk with. So, you know, that's how that ends. Very interesting. A number of very interesting things came out. I would have to go over them again in my mind to confirm, you know, I'd have to rewatch my episode to confirm what I thought about that. But certainly some very interesting Paul Ansell related timeline business came out there, didn't it? Just the concepts early in the ground. I said facts were liable to change. What's not liable to change is her knowledge of who phoned the school. Like, she didn't tell us, but every other time that in that press conference she alluded to something, and I said, well, I think it means this, and I think that she's alluding to that. Later on, when questioned, she said, yes, it does allude to that. For example, the phone was on the bench because of the inquiries team, which I said is different from, oh yeah, it was the inquiries team. For example, there was another thing that she confirmed later on, wasn't there? And then so also I would put in that box this, the idea that the school was contacted and the family was contacted at 10:50 equals we, the police, called the school and Paul Ansell at 10:50. And they can do that at the same time because they've got more than one person in a call office, or they've got two people in an office, or, you know, maybe like they did it one after the other very quickly, and they would know that. To contact two people at the same time to give them the information that they were contacted, because she's doing timelines and she's the police. So that's why I'm thinking that. But he said something different. He said that he was phoning Nikki's phone and her WhatsApp, and then
I'm going to go out, find her, come home. I'm going to have to go down there and see her phone, and there was no answer. I tried ringing her on WhatsApp, and again there was no answer. I tried the mobile again, and no answer, so I couldn't get her. I started to get a bit panicky, I think. So that's when I thought, well, I'm going to have to go down there and see if she's all right, you know, see if I can see the car, or you know, see what's going on. But I still expected that I'd just get there and just, oh, there she is, you know. So I go to the gym on a Friday.
So he didn't actually say that they called, did he?
The receptionist at school, and she said,
Carry on.
yeah, lunchtime, go to the gym. We're going to leave.
He decided to go down there before they called him.
And then the phone rang, and it was the school.
So he decided to leave, and then the phone rang, and it was the school. The school were informed at the same time as the family. He's the family, and the school are informing him. Now, on reflection, I'm going to say, you know, this was one of our red flags. Now I'm going to say this is an outright lie. I think Paul Ansell is telling an outright lie. And the reason I think it is because I just heard the police officer say that the school and him were called at the same time and notified that Nicola was missing. And she didn't say the school called the family and we left it to the school, or like we found out that the school had phoned the family. She said the school and the family were informed at 10:50. That's what she said. I didn't get an impression of exactly when the police were contacted by her press conference then, interestingly. I need to find that piece of information. We'll go through the next press conference and it might come out there. But when were the police contacted is quite important, because Paul is now saying that he was contacted by the school, which doesn't sound like the same thing as the policewoman said.
Carry on.
Yeah, lunchtime, go to the gym. We're going to leave, and then the phone rang, and it was the school, and it was the receptionist at school, and she said, Mr. Ansell, it's a bit of a weird one. Hello. So it's a bit of a weird
Distracted
one.
during that answer as well, going for Willow during that answer. It was the school. It was the receptionist at the school, and she said it was a bit of a weird one.
But we found Willow and Nicky's phone on the bench, and the harness halfway down the embankment on the floor.
Halfway down the embankment on the floor, he said, the receptionist at school said that they had found it. The receptionist at the school had not found it. The receptionist at the school had not found the harness. The receptionist at the school had not found Nicola's phone. He said, the receptionist said, we have found it.
Willow and Nicky's phone on.
Fuck you, Paul.
So it's a bit of a weird one, but we found, and it was the school, and it was the receptionist at school, and she said, Mr. Ansell, it's a bit of a weird one.
Big ups in chat. Yeah, we were going to leave. We picked that up on the previous body language. Like there's so much in this playlist. If you go back to my Paul Ansell body language analysis and react, like I picked it all out. It's no surprise to me. He said we. Yeah, I remember. We did it twice. We did 2 hours and 40 minutes there. We did 5 hours there. Paul Ansell, and then we did 3 hours there. I went over it with a fine-tooth comb twice. Yeah, he said we. Absolutely. Here I'm more interested in this new thing I've learned.
Mr. Ansell.
No, it's clarifying what, it's a different account that's clarifying what's being said here.
And it was the receptionist at school, and
he said it was the school, which is a broad concept, and you would initially say it was the receptionist at school, like a person, but he says it's the school. Then he thinks, right, who is it from the school that's calling? It's the receptionist from the school. She's doing it. Is that the appropriate person to be doing this, the receptionist? Could you call Paul Ansell and tell him that we've found his dog? Who have you? Who are you? Hello, this is the police. Hello, this is some woman from the park. Can you call Paul Ansell? Don't start. There's no one in the garden, and if there is, you can get them. Sick 'em. What? Is it that Adolf Hitler? Better not be Adolf Hitler again. It's not Adolf Hitler, you're fine. He thinks Adolf Hitler's in the garden. Listen, Marlo. Is Adolf Hitler in the garden? See? Right, it's not. It's all right. It's fine. It's not Adolf Hitler. He's not here. He's fine. He just really doesn't like Adolf Hitler, Marlo. You're okay, this is the situation. Someone at the school. Ring, ring, hello. This is the school. It's the receptionist at the school. Hi, I'm Mary. I work on reception at the school. Right. Hello, I'm Ahmed. I work on reception at the school. Yeah, it's the receptionist at the school. And on the phone, hello, we're in the park with a dog. We think it's this woman called Nicola. She got kids at the school. Can you ring her husband and tell her that we've got the dog? No, I don't think I can actually. Who the fuck are you? What's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way I'm going to. Oh, you want a Discord link? Bless. Oh, Sarah's done it. Did you have the authority to do that? Do you, Sarah? There's my Tippies link. You got the authority to do that as well, you chuffer. Is it the same Discord link as mine? Super Chuffer Mimp Squad. My Discord link. Invite people. Copy looks like this. That's the current one that I've got. Maybe it's because they change sometimes. Oh, you just want Discord, the thing itself, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, there's another Discord link for you. The idea that the receptionist would be called by some member of the public and then relay that information to Paul Ansell is unlikely, isn't it? The idea that the reception at school would be called by the police and then relay that information to Paul Ansell is slightly more believable. Still unlikely. The idea that the receptionist at the school would give the details of Paul Ansell to the police because they've got them on their record, and then the police would phone Paul, far more likely. If we find out, and I haven't timelined You know, I'm not on that tip quite. I haven't quite timelined. If we find out when the police were called, we'll probably, you know, come on to it in the coming weeks as I follow up on all this stuff. If we find out when the police were called ties in with the police phoning the school, this is a lie, and the police phoned him.
It was the school. And
It was the school.
It was the receptionist at school.
It was the receptionist at school. Let's qualify that and look away at the same time while we do it. It sounds a bit body language and all that. It sounds a bit like a lie now, I'm thinking.
She said,
and there's a panicked micro expression here. He's actually looking maybe towards the dog even. And she said, what did she say? Is this the expression of fear? He's looking into constructed. This is a lie. Like body language and all that, a lie. I'm not saying he's lying here, like, oh, sue me and all this business. What I'm saying is, I think he's lying because the things he said don't tie up with what these other people have said, and the other people are the police. And his body language and the eyes and the micro expression, the fact he's looking into constructed, the fact that he's got this symbol of panic across his face at the moment where he's having to construct in his mind what somebody said that they didn't even say and don't exist.
Mr. Ansell.
Mr. Ansell, they called him.
It's a bit of a weird one.
It's a bit of a weird one. Mr. Ansell, they called him. If it was the school, they might call him Paul. Oh, hi, Paul. It's Trudy here from the school. Did they call you by your formal first? I don't know. Mr. Ansell. But if it was the police, they would 100% call you Mr. Ansell. Do go on, Paul. Willow. Let's have Willow now. I'm getting distracted while I'm giving this important answer. A little bit of a mental break, isn't it, from doing the massive lie?
So it's a bit of a weird one, but we've found
giving him time to think.
Willow.
We found Willow. So now Willow is this prop that he's bringing into the story, and he literally, physically, mentally, at the same time, all brought Willow in as this prop into the story. A bit weird. Yeah, we found Willow.
And Nicky's phone.
And Nicky's phone. Again, Nicola's phone, Nicky's phone. If you're the school and you have a working relationship with these people, it might be normal to call them by their first name, their nickname. Oh, we found Nicky's phone. Oh, hi, Paul and Nicky. You know, I'm your teacher of your kids. Oh, hi, Paul and Nicky. Or Nicola's phone from the police, but actually we call her Nicky all the time. Only formally do people call her Nicola. Only the people who don't know her, like the police. So I'm saying the police. It's a weird one. Is a funny phrase for a receptionist at the school as well. I don't know who the receptionist is at the school, but oh hi, it's a bit of a weird one. Whereas if you're maybe a male police officer and you're talking to another male and you're trying to get into difficult, you know, okay, this is a bit of a weird one, but maybe it's even he felt it was a weird one and that was never said. I don't like it. Yeah, he's flush here. He is flush, very red, correct.
On the bench, and the harness halfway down the embankment on the floor.
And the harness halfway in the embankment down the floor while he's physically touching the harness himself. I don't like this at all now. You know, he called Willow over. Willow looks fucking panicked at this. We all, you know, body language of the dog in those episodes. Again, I'd refer you back to my extensive body language analysis of these moments for some things like that. But now I'm thinking the touching of the harness, the filling in of the information that I'm saying, whether it's true or not, but I'm, you know, physically constructing my story whilst touching things around me. That it's like a desire to hold on to the solid and the real while you're constructing this narrative.
So,
you're
oh, thanks, Dan, for cutting in there, you prick.
Already worried at this point.
Yeah, because I'm just about to leave. So I've got my gym stuff on. I'm about to leave, thinking I'm gonna see her.
So now we're off the phone conversation. Dan said something. Okay, we can forget about sending this lie. Forget about this lie that I'm telling in this phone conversation. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to go back to the truth. I was getting this and I was doing that, or the apparent truth, you know, the more factual things that he's factually more capable of. Do you know what I mean? Part of a lie for people like Paul would be that you tell the truth as much as possible and then they can't say it's a lie. Like, for example, someone took the kids to school. It was maybe Emma. But I'll say, you know, we've seen. How do I explain this? Here's another good example, right? If you said to me, have you been at the pub all night? And I wanted to tell you a lie and explain that I hadn't. I would think of a different night where I'd been out bowling or something. And I'd say, no, I went bowling. And then you'd say, oh, did you? What was it like at bowling then? And I'd have this other night in my mind. So I'd tell you about the only lie is which day it was. And so, unless you're going to say, was that today? And I'm caught in the live. No, it was yesterday, but I said it was today. I can relay everything in this. I got in and I chose my shoes. And they didn't have my size of shoes. But then I had to get one of one size and one of the other. And then it was this, and Harry got 10 points. And because it's all happened, and it's not a lie. You're telling the truth, but you're telling a modified version on a different day sort of truth. So I think that he goes into that really. He hangs on to these factual things that he can say with confidence that don't make him look like a liar. But the moment he was just talking then about that phone call between him and the school, that was uncomfortable, and he got right the fuck off it.
You know, pass her, get there and find her. Then I get that call, and in an instant, it's like your whole...
Of course.
Because I knew straight away that it wasn't normal. You know,
the school to phone you is not really normal, but you don't... I remember, we've been over this already, the stomach drop moment. If it's the police, you get that moment. The minute the police call you, you're on the phone to the police. Hang on, what? It's the police. It doesn't matter what situation it is, even if they're calling up to wish you a happy birthday. You think this is more serious. The school calls you up, it's not so bad. The police, it's a stomach drop moment.
I mean, like, because I said, well, where is she? And like, they can't find her. So I also know that she would never in a million years leave Willow. Like, Willow is like our third child.
So I said, where is she? What we've heard from him is the school called him up and said, this is a weird one, but we can't find Nikki. And then he said to them, well, where is she? Like this back and forth between him and the school receptionist. Again, if someone was relaying this information to me from the school reception, I wouldn't expect them to know much. And I would say, okay, thanks. I guess I'm going to have to call the police or something from here. I guess I'm going to have to take this further. Rather than questioning them at the school reception, well, where is she? Well, we don't know. We are relaying this message to you, Paul. We're asking you, where is she? Do you know where she is? Like the school reception might be asking, is Nicola with you? Like, unbelievable. Unbelievable. That no, this is again, I can't believe I'm just seeing this now. I can't believe I'm just seeing this now. Who wouldn't the first question be, is Nicola with you? You're her fucking partner. Is Nicola at home? Has she returned home? Is she with you? No, we can't find her. Not, hi, we can't find her. It's a bit of a jump, isn't it? Like, it might set people up. We can't find her. Well, she's here with me. Oh, that's all right then. Didn't think to ask you if you knew where she was. That slipped my mind, being as you're her partner. Why has no one asked him where Nicola is? Do you know where Nicola is? Why has no one asked, in Paul's account, nobody asks him where Nicola is? They're so sure that she's missing and that he doesn't know where she is. They called her up, said, this is a funny one. Nicola's missing. Oh, is it? Yeah, we can't find her. Do you know where she is? Doesn't come.
So I know, like, she'd never, like, the fact that Willow's just in the field on her own, off the lead, obviously extremely concerning.
Concerning was the word, again. Now that I'm being able to cross-reference this with the police, the words that the police officer used on day one was concerned. The family are concerned. We're concerned as the police. Emma incorporated the words that the police used in their public statement into her public statements. Paul is now incorporating the words that the police used into his. Concerning, which means that he gets to say what the police said. So it's fine. It's safe territory. He knows that they're like, the police said that I was concerned. I'll say that I'm concerned. It's almost like he's constructed his script from the safest words the police said. It's awful now that he said that. Concerning is not the word. Concerning is not the word. I would not be concerned. I'd be frantic. I'd be, there are other words that express your emotions. The concern is not the word. It's the police word.
Just in a mad panic.
A mad panic, you see. So he thought about what he just said. We were concerned, and he thought, God, that didn't sound quite right. And now I'm going to, say something that sounds better. I'm going to colour this lie.
Because I got hit by that weird. It's like your world just drops out because something's weird has happened.
Something's weird.
I couldn't be happier. Swish!
Bren Coleman sent tippies. Cheers for the hard work, Scott. At work, so we'll have to catch your lives, Tomo. Super Chuffer owes 10 hugs.
Big ups, Brent. I hope you have a good time at work, and I hope this is tomorrow we're going to do a big video on Alan, aren't we? So I don't know how much live streaming I need to do tomorrow, but I'll tell you what I'm a bit disappointed in myself with is there's the second police like, I thought that I'd have time to do this second police press conference. Which is... Where is it? This one. Shut up, you. I thought I'd have time to do the second police press conference, but now I'm being led down this... things have just come up here now in my brain, and I feel like following this press conference with this lady. You know, we need to cover this. It's 36 minutes long, so it's the change between the one and the other, and the difference, you know, the way they've come through. I thought I'd be doing this tonight. How long are we on now? We're on 2.5 hours. I think this becomes its own episode again. Again, I split the half and push it on. Doesn't matter if it comes after the inquest either, because it's still always going to be fine. It's there as like a vintage wine sitting on the shelf, ready for us to crack open the cork, pour, and do exactly what we're doing now. And of course, I'm saying wine. I'm a teetotaler. I don't drink at all. So wine's a bad example. But you know what I mean? This is not going to go bad unless... And even if whatever happens in the press, you know, after the inquest, we can still come back to this and analyse what we think of this. So that's fine. I hoped to do it before the inquest, but I'm not stressed because this has come out and this is far bigger. It's almost, I want to say evidence, you know, very critical of that sort of stuff, isn't it? It's almost, is it circumstantial? I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know where you'd fit it. But what I'm saying is that the police gave me an account of who was called and when. Paul's account differs from the police's account, and the things he said that the receptionist from the school said sound very much like the police, don't they?
So I got in the car, drove down there, ran down the river to where the bench is. Somebody had Willow, and obviously there was a few other dog walkers there and stuff like that. Handed me Willow, handed me Nicky's phone. I still expected, obviously, to just have a look around and, well, there she is, or there she is. So, you know, we're all looking.
We've critiqued all this already, you know. I'm not looking to critique this bit anymore.
Jessica sent tippies. Meow, please can you look at how Paul's hand is near Willow and Willow? Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
I mean, I know, yeah, Willow looks absolutely anxious. We discussed it in the previous viewing of this. You know, we had a look at Paul and Willow, yeah.
Down there, ran down the river to where the bench is. Somebody had Willow, and obviously there was a few other dog walkers there and stuff like that. Handed me Willow, handed me Nicky's phone.
The Nicky's phone, I've already picked this up, but I wanted to just pick it up again. Look at the expression. Handed me Nicky's phone. The panic, the fear. Is this because his fingerprints are now on the phone? He didn't want that. Is it shock and amazement that someone would hand him the phone, being as he's prime suspect? What is it so what is it that make him so angry about Nicky's phone? What is this, micro expression which disappears so quickly?
I still expected, obviously, to just have a look around and. Well,
I'm waiting for him to say, call the police.
So, we're all looking. I'm like walking off into the field that way, like looking around the corners, looking over the hedge, looking over the stile, and nothing. But I'd rung 999 on the way.
And this comes after. Now, this is actually not so bad, right? You might say, well, why he didn't fit it in the story in the right time. He told us this, and then he forgot to say he'd rung 999. Yeah, that could be like he's adding it on now. He's supposed to have called 999. He forgot to say it, so now he's adding it. But when you tell a real story, like, I went to the supermarket and I was halfway round and I saw Uncle Jim, and I forgot, like before, I went in the petrol station and I got 20 fags. So I gave Uncle Jim the 20 fags because you know how he smokes. Like, you forget information, you bring it up in disordered order if it's the truth. So this might not be a problem, but it's problematic to me because we're talking, I'm trying to cross-reference this time of when the police were called, and Paul's account here, by the way, I did call the police, of course. Nothing. But I'd rung 999 on the way because I obviously knew something was wrong. We're looking at his hand on the dog as well here. The dog's like sitting facing away from him, and he's like hand on top of the dog. He's using the dog as comfort for himself here, and it's like a comforting part of his story to have these props. It was wrong. So the police rang me then
while I was at the bench and said, look,
So the police rang me then. He just rang the police and called 999.
was wrong. So the police rang me then.
So then the police rang me. So this doesn't, again, this feels like it's fucked up. It doesn't like, what he's saying is he's on the way down in the car. He's worried. No one called him. He decided to get in the car and go, remember? Remember? No one called him. He decided to get in the car and go because he was anxious about it. Then the school called him. Am I getting this right? Am I tripping?
I still expected, obviously, to just... So, obviously, just in a mad panic then. I said, well, where is she? And I went at the bench. And it was the receptionist that was... So, that's when I thought, right, I'm going to have to go down there and see if she's all right, you know.
Oh, yeah, he hadn't left the house. He thought he had to go down there. He got his gym kit on. Then the receptionist called him.
See if I can see the car or, you know, see what's going on. But I still expected that I'd just get there and just, oh, there she is, you know.
So you got your gym kit on. Then the receptionist called you. Then you got in the car in a panic. During the car journey, you called the police.
School, and she said, Mr. Sam, of course. You know, because it's... I got hit by that weird... I was like, you know, nothing. But I'd rung 999 on the way, because I obviously knew something was wrong.
And again, we get that was wrong. He did it twice. At first he said, I knew something was wrong, and then this time it was wrong. I wonder what was... I knew something was, and it turns out the word is just wrong. I knew something was up. You know, I don't know, like, why he stutters over that necessarily. I'm finding I'm almost being overloaded by this now.
So the police rang me then while I was at the bench and said, look, you've got to get home.
The police rang me while I was at the bench. So he's called the police on. The school has called him. The school has been notified by somebody. The police said that the school and him and the family were notified at the same time. And they said 10:50. He said that before he leaves the house, the school call him. Then he's in the car and he phones the police. Then he gets there and the police phone him. At the same time as they called the school, obviously. Because the police said they called you in the school at the same time. But you'd been called by the school like at least 10-15 minutes earlier because you've had time to speak to the police and go down to the bench. So there's like a gap in the timeline there. The police didn't say there was a gap in the timeline. They said they read their timeline out in week 1 and said that these days, and I'm saying the timeline is subject to change, but not the bits where the police know what they're doing. Paul's caught in a lie there. He can always go into the, he's not been properly interviewed by the police, has he? I don't think. But he can always go in there and say, sorry, I was confused. When they checked my phone records, it said I called this and this is what happened. Well, I'll go with the phone records then, sorry. You know? But he's saying he called them while he was going down there. And what he would have probably said is, hi, my name's Paul Ansell. My wife is, like, assuming I'm calling the police because I'm worried about my wife is missing. All right, sir, where did you last see her? You know, and you'd have to go into this sort of detail. Like, what was she wearing? How long has she been missing? Are we going to register it as a missing persons? You know, it depends on how long someone's been missing. I don't know what the exact protocol is, but if you call 999... Actually, I'll tell you what the correct protocol is. If you call 999, you're reporting this person's missing, and you tell them that...
Again. I couldn't be happier.
Mudjet sent tippies. Keep up the good work, Scott. Balls the last one up sent it with my real moniker breakover back to graft. Super Chuffer owes 5 hugs.
Thank you very much. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Paul has said that... Oh my God, it's so bad, isn't it? It's so bad. Like, you call the police. I think my wife's missing. Well, this is 999. What's your local area? We'll put you through to the police station. It's a missing persons. She's not been missing a long time. Calm down. We're not taking your details and what she's wearing and all this. This is the emergency number. Like, is this an emergency? No. According to the emergency. I'm guessing. Can we put you on to your local police station? Or maybe we'll get your local police station to call you back. So maybe it's that. But if you were concerned about the well-being and welfare of your wife, why wouldn't you just stay on the line? Lucia makes a really good point. The police would have been aware of the welfare check. So maybe they would have been quite willing to talk to Paul. This doesn't seem like... The idea that you'd be in the car and during that 15-minute car journey or 10-minute or whatever it is, you've got the time and wherewithal to call the police, and that the process of doing so is finished and done by the time you get out of the car and you run up on the scene, and that when you get to the scene they choose to call you back. And he also says they send him home. So the police didn't agree with you, Paul. They didn't, in their press conference, corroborate that information. I'm happy enough with what I've said about this now.
Lorna sent tippies. Super Chuffer owes 8 hugs.
Thanks very much, Lorna. You know, I still legit think this... It's funny because I think the police know this after watching today's... where is she? I've lost her now. After watching today's press conference that we watched, I actually think she knows this. I think that's why she's saying the police... she's saying that the school and the family were notified at 10:50, at the same time. I think she's saying that because she's heard Paul say this and she's thought, no, and she can't go in a press conference and say, Paul Ansell said that he called us at this time. No, he fucking didn't. So make of that what you will, the gutter press. Like, she can't do that, but she's very clearly laid out a statement there that contradicts what he's saying. It's amazing.
Because the police are going to be coming to your house. We need somebody at your house. You get home, the police are on the way there. So I'd rung the police at like, I think about 10 to 11, and they were
10
there.
to 11.
Like, they got there.
10:50, the time that you were told in the press conference that you had been called by the police. I rang the police at 10:50, and exactly that's weird, isn't it? Because the police are trying to call you at exactly the same time. I wonder if you had phone tennis. Oh, there's call incoming. It's the police. Oh, hang on, I'm trying to call the police. That's a bit weird. Hello. Did you just call? Do you remember with the old phones where you would dial someone up? I don't know if anyone will remember this. This is the absolute God's honest truth. Sometimes, and it would happen because you'd call the same people over and over again. You'd have your regular friends you speak to on the old phone, not the one with the buttons and the magic phone that you've got now, but the old phone with the dial and the ringing people up. And you'd call them, and as you dial the last number, it wouldn't ring, and then hello. It didn't ring. No, I picked it up to call you. Did you? I just called you. It's almost like that. The police and him are doing call tennis at the same time. At exactly the same moment as the police told us they contacted the family, Paul is ringing the police.
25 past. So they were there, I think about 10 to 11, and they were there. Like, they got there 25 past. So they were
at his house.
There, really, really quick.
Or at the scene. Where are they? Very quick, because you had to go home. But if you're receiving the phone call at 10:50, when do you arrive on the scene and when do you go home? When do you get handed the phone? You get handed the phone after you arrive. You decide to go searching, popping over the hedges, and the police call you and tell you to go home. Like, it's a very small time frame, that. None of that makes sense. Your account of who called who when, Paul, is flapping in the wind like a tattered flag.
So I then, I'd gone home then, taken Willow back. Police officer would come to the house.
And now this makes more sense, doesn't it? Because you turn up at the river, there's people there, they hand you the phone, they hand you the dog, you fuck off. I've not heard anyone tell me that Paul has been searching at the river. That Penny, that Ron, people are worried about Penny and Ron. They've not gone on account to say, when Paul arrived, he was searching and doing this and doing that. Ron said all hell broke loose, didn't he? Or something like that. he's got the dog, he's got the phone, he's gone straight back to the car and fucked off. That's what he just told me in the time frame. He said he went poking over the hedges and this and that. He hasn't had time to do that. The police have called him, tell him to get home. They're there really quickly. I've got the dog. Like, you would imagine, why would you want to go traipsing around the fields with the dog? You need to go home and deal with the police.
And, you know, although I was, like, obviously extremely worried and concerned, I still expected at any second she'd just go, oh, we found her. You know, we
found her on the phone. We found her. Not you found her because you're out looking. We found her on the phone.
Found her here or whatever.
Maybe the other members of the family were out looking and Paul went home. Paul went home. He told us he went home. Within 20 minutes of arriving at the scene, he's at home again. Because he knows, because he was there and the police were there. He has not spent a long time looking for Nicola at that scene. I mean, we all said it. You'd spend ages while you'd be in the river. I don't care. Weather, cold, whatever. You know, if I saw a fucking bubble in the river, I'd take off my clothes and wade in and just confirm that she's not right here. Okay, thank fuck for that. Like, you look like a nutter. Yeah, but I love her and she's missing. So deal with it. I look like a nutter. I'm in the river. Fuck you. Like, to go home immediate because the priority is because you've got to deal with the police. It's insane. But I can picture it happening. He's turned up, he's got the dog, there's the phone. Oh, everyone's talking. And he's like, oh, fucking this and that. You know, whether he said to them, who are you to come into my business? Or, you know what I mean? Or like, something's kicked off, mate. I don't know what. But then he's on, oh, the police are calling me. I've got to go. Bye. Gone home. Gone home.
And that, yeah, I mean, that never happened. Like, that was just the day.
And that never happened, didn't it, Paul?
Raining again. I couldn't be happier.
Someone sent tippies.
And then whoosh.
Super Chuffer owes 3 hugs.
I'm reiterating. Thank you very much for the three hugs there, someone. I'll just quickly check that we're not getting tippies that I'm missing, because sometimes names don't go through on the system for some reason, but they are applied. That was ACW, yeah. So, like, thank you very much. I don't know why it said someone, but it was ACW. Thank you very much. Unless you didn't want to be known, and then I've said your name by mistake. But thank you. The ideas here that I'm going to then start to bang on about are going to be reiterations, repetitions. So I would encourage you to go and watch the playlist. But in the light of what I've just learned, applying it to this now is incredible. It's actually stopped me and made me feel a bit stunned and a bit surprised. I didn't know today's episode was going to be a Paul Ansell. You know, I have this little bit of a problem with some of my episodes. I'm now going to have to, at some point, re-edit this, aren't I? Like, because the live stream here says Nicola Bulley, police media responses, body language analysis. It doesn't say we discover something remarkable about Paul. Oh my God, which more people are going to be interested to find and discover. But it should do. So I'm going to have to edit this last bit off as a little video, put it up so that people know we discovered something about this. But we certainly did tonight. It didn't tie in at all properly. Maybe other people have discovered that as well. You know, I don't know because I don't watch everyone's content, do I? But that certainly happened organically for me. I will have to change this thumbnail as well because we still haven't talked about that one. A bit annoying. I hope you're not annoyed that I keep not making enough time. Like, this is a 30-minute video that we need to get through. We need to do another episode on Nicola Bulley police media response. It needs to be this and my analysis of it. It's quite possible that with tomorrow's malarkey about Alan, and I mean, I might try and get up early and do this first. I've got to walk the dogs and do other stuff, but do this and then move on to the Alan stuff. But we've got one more episode for sure on this. That's for sure. Tomorrow is going to be Alan malarkey. I'll keep bringing it up, keep banging on about it. Make sure you're on battery exhausted for that. How are you feeling in chat? It's been a bit weird, isn't it? It's been a bit weird. We've had a few, you know, in and out that have been up and down. A few different people. I hope that we've reached a few different people with different ideas tonight. I'm so grateful for all the tippies, you know. You can't... Like, if I scroll down on here, like my first live streams on YouTube, a year ago. But I was streaming for a year on Twitch beforehand, and then I started streaming on YouTube. But like a year ago, I was getting 39 views, 28 views. I don't know how many views I'd get on doing the personalities test now. Yeah, I don't like if we did the 16 personalities test, maybe we'd get more views now. But I say you, like me, I suppose. You work hard at something, you commit to it, and it might seem like fun and games a lot of the time. I'm sitting in front of my computer, I'm having a laugh and smoking the weed, but I ended up stumbling across. I did Madeleine McCann body language and analysis. I had an old body language channel that some people know about that had some success, and you know I could do the body. I was doing a variety of content, and I stumbled across this Nicola Bulley thing because Paul Ansell, and up until that point, you know, I'd been growing. I'd taken the 10x jump. I'd gone from 10s and 20s to 100s and 200s. The Madeleine McCann stuff went well. You know, that's been well received, thousands of views. But the Nicola Bulley thing happened, and like I watched that interview of Paul, you know, talking, and I thought, fucking hell. I watched this one of him by the river, and I thought, fucking hell, like, you know. So I just did, when I did Nicola Bulley 11 Facts, I didn't think that was going to, didn't realise it was going to be like, you know, big. About the week before we did Prince Andrew and the Pimp, that was my biggest episode up to that point, really. For it to grow like this, you know, I'm very grateful. I'm also aware, you know, we're talking about the serious nature of someone's death. Like, I actually have my opinions on who I think murdered her. Don't care. Take me to court if you have to. I think I'll be all right. I checked that all out, you know, defamation and everything I've said's based on a reading from, like, he said that today, the police said that today. I didn't come on and make up some bollocks. They're saying it. So, and I'm really grateful and lucky that people started to view the channel, like more people. It's a wider audience. It brought in some eyes, and a lot of you have managed to stick with me through some of my lulls or maybe a couple of flights of fancy. I try and do a variety of content. I try not to stick on the Nicola Bulley thing the whole time, but you will now see a lot more body language and analysis be the capstone of the content. I think that's the one thing that, after doing all sorts of things for a couple of years now, that my strength, maybe my unique selling point, is my intuition and reading of people in these interviews. So they've all gone quite well when we've done that. We've also got Thus Podcast has started and taken off, and I'm really grateful for that as well. I want to add more voices to that. Like, things are moving in the right direction, so I'm really grateful for that. But like, the reason I understand and the reason I'm so grateful is because I've been there working at it for a year with, like, there was Snippies, there was Capital K, there was Nigel, there wasn't that many people. And moving forward through tough times, like when I actually started this channel, what had happened in my life was everyone suffered through COVID. I was my nan's carer. Like, the room that I'm in now and I'm streaming from is my nan's bedroom. She came and moved into it. I remember saying at the start of COVID, this looks like we're going to be, you know, in it for a bit of a long haul. Let's go and move Nan in now. Let's not fuck about. Let's just get Nan and move her in. And so I became a carer. So I was on £60 a week as a carer's allowance. Obviously, COVID was tough. I couldn't do any work generally anyway, but, you know, I wasn't cutting anyone's hair. But, you know, £60 a week as as an allowance for doing the difficult job of caring for my loved one. And then, obviously, sadly, she died. But I'm now in the same room. It opened up a different avenue for me. I said, right, I've been watching these streamers. I've been consuming this content. I'm going to start doing it myself. I'm a media producer. I used to make videos. I've done a bit of documentary work. I'm going to stream and I'm going to see how it goes. And I know that it's going to be an uphill struggle. And I know that for the first couple of years, I can't expect anything from it. I've just got to keep working at it, find my voice, find my feet, improve. I've spent money on a computer. I've spent money on cameras. The quality of the thing you're watching, like, visually has improved. I'm so grateful to all of you in chat and the MIMP squad. I opened up a Discord because people requested it, and I thought, I don't really use Discord. I don't know what's going on. You talk to each other. You don't need me. Like, you're talking to each other now in Discord. There's a mental health space. People are supporting each other. I did Mental Health Monday to make videos. Now I've got people in a group that are supportive of each other. It's so much bigger than I could have imagined. So I'm really eternally grateful for that. And we're still on the early stages of a bigger journey. I still need to make that 7,500 subscribers go up to 10, and I want it to go to 20 and 50 and 100. And when I get 100 and I get the play button, that's your play button. Like, I could never have got here on my own. The space we're in now is your space, you know, and the gratitude. I'm really grateful for the tippies, of course. You know, finance is important, but this is more than that. Like, we're making connections with people around the world. The reason I want to be a media producer is because I want to be able to reach people with views of the world and build bridges to people. So you're the people that are you're the bridge. So thanks very much for that. Tomorrow's going to get weird. Tomorrow's going to get weird. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much, Powlard. Thank you. And for the £5 super chat, but also, like I say, thank you for considering to watch the back catalogue of videos. I put work into them, even if there weren't many people in those streams. Some of them, the content I create, I imagine, I hope that you can call it like an episode. So if you do go back to some of those streams, well, turn the mainframe off by mistake. If you do go back to some of these, like, it might be fun to watch Needy Streamer Overload or Flying Over Assam Valley or Prison Cell Cooking. Even though they're not relevant today, they're sort of evergreen content. So I do hope that people can get some fun out of going back to watch the previous episodes. Of course, we keep pumping out the content as well, don't we? And there's also Super Chuffer for you, if you want the clip show, because I stream on Twitch as well. But on Twitch, we're just random. Like, you know, I turn on the stream and we just chit chat and things happen. So I edit the little clips out of that and put them up on Super Chuffer for you. And then we've also got Battery Exhausted, which is the B-side channel, which is where tomorrow we're having the big drop. This is where we follow lol cows, other idiots, have a bit of a laugh. We do Nutter Watch. So it's a little more laid back. We do Nutter Watch. Angry Alan's our favourite lol cow, our favourite narcissist, our favourite nutter. And tomorrow I'm dropping a video which is going to stick in his pipe. So I'm looking forward to everyone and their opinions on that. There will be varied opinions, I imagine. But, you know, I'm looking forward to them. It's all going to be a lot of fun. Bear in mind, you've got to make sure, because we do a lot of serious stuff on the main channel, and we have done tonight. You know, this stuff is pretty serious stuff. I don't want to take you by the hand and lead you into a dark alleyway and make you feel sad and afraid and alone. That's the opposite. We're here as a group to support and encourage each other. And part of the best thing about us as humanity is our ability to laugh at each other and ourselves. So I don't mind laughing at myself. I put on the wigs, we have a laugh. It's important that you feel that, you know, as a thought process, that the stream does not take you into these dark places. We can go there, but I need to be able to lead you out, you know, lead you out to the other side where saints march in. I've been hanging in a noose and seen my flesh burn. I found we all have lessons to learn. You're fragile and strong like glass. Don't do anything rash. Happiness can spread like fire. If you've no desire to live for yourself, live for someone else. All good in the hood, yeah? All good in the hood. And that's it really for tonight. You know, I'm going to see you again tomorrow. And things are going to get weird. Like I said, I think what we'll probably do is we'll put this on the back burner. We'll see after the inquest. Maybe at the end of inquest week we can reflect on this. You know, after the inquest even. This has been incredible. I've caught him out again. I don't like him. That can go. You're incredible. That's been Leeway Music from Genshin Impact. That's my happy place. I'm going to go there now. I might even switch on the Twitch stream if anyone's interested to just watch me play Genshin. But I'm going to go there now and have my happy place time. I encourage you to all do the same. You don't want me to go. In fact, what I probably will do then is I'll have a little break and I might switch on the Twitch because I do need to get some rest and recharge. But I also need to do my dailies on Genshin Impact. So I might just have a little kiwawa, you know, after party chit chat. And yeah, I'm really internally grateful for all of you. And I hope that tomorrow's stuff goes well. I think I've said it all, haven't I? Yeah. Oh, I normally do T-. So you've got T-1 minute to say thank you to each other in chat. Because it's important that you realise that it's not just me, it's each other in chat, you know. ABC getting your magnums stocked up for tomorrow. Getting the billionaires magnums. Special magnums. Yeah. You be good, and if you can't be good,